There's a groove that I can follow that's exactly right for exactly right for.
Sometimes when I try to reason, you don't seem to listen at all. I don't know if it's just a feeling, or if we are about to fall. Yeah, come on. We'll come back, come back. Stand fast, stand fast. We'll come back, but I know we're stronger if we stay here longer. We'll come back, but I we'll come back. I'll find us another treasure. Yeah, come on. To hold on to through the storm. And I know love is hard to measure, but with you I can see its form. Yeah. We'll come back, come back. Stand fast, stand fast. We'll come back, but I know we're stronger if we stay here longer. We'll come back, but I we'll come back, come back. Stand fast, stand fast. We'll come back, but I know we're stronger if we stay here longer. We'll come back, but I we'll come back,
You never know until it happens. Ain't a thing you see coming a mile away. But suddenly lightning somehow got into the bottle. Now you need to move fast to make it stay. You should hurry to love him now. You should hurry to love him now.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the PG. Yes, it's Rain Day and Pretty Hair here. Evan Rayner and Nick Keogh on broadcast to bring you through the action for our doubleheader today, or at least the first part where we go to Australia down under in OCE and check out what they are bringing to the table, or the Barbie, I should probably say.
Yeah, and this is a region that obviously was dominated by one, but seems like they're starting to actually catch up a little bit. And I don't know if it's as a factor. You know how, there is that low-toe gaming, right? There is those kind of guys in Latin and Brazil to contest the big dogs. OCE hasn't really felt like it's had that for a while now, but I do kind of, as Kanga loses people, other teams starting to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know it by last week because Kanga with the 2-0, hot, quick freshness. But let's see if there's a little bit more competition. We do have the schedule and the standings available for you all. It is Despacito 2 and Kanga Esports, who both took home wins. And it's Trident Esports and Pantheon, who will be trying their best. We saw in EU that actually those bottom two teams had a very tight set heading into this second week. So I'm excited to see maybe Despacito 2 and Pantheon, probably the set I'm looking for to be a little bit more contested versus the Kanga and Trident one.
And now when I said more competitive, I think the goal is to, survive at least like 8 minutes in your games.
Go from 6 to 8. Go from 8 to maybe a point.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby
Defenses.
steps. Yeah, a defense here or there. I think OC is definitely excited about the opportunity to improve, and with those main stars from Kanga slowly moving, doing other things, talking about Hades taking on the ownership role, talking about Josh Kent just pursuing life. Triathlons and life and school.
Yeah, he's in the military, I think.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he had to fulfill some obligations.
Prepping all of that. Well, we've got the maps ready for set number 1.
We salute him, right?
We
Is that
do.
how it goes?
Let's go. Let's salute Josh Kent. Well, he's not actually a part of our military, so I don't know if we salute. Like, do you salute somebody who goes into the Japanese military if they're American?
They've never been our enemies, I don't think.
I just don't know if that's a thing.
If I was president of the U.S., we would never fight Australia. That's one thing I could promise.
That's one thing I'll promise. You got my vote.
I love I'm just holding a baby kangaroo. I love these Australians.
And surprise, Nick Keogh gets a 0.5% of the vote in this presidential race. Turns out, not too many Australian lovers here in America.
Thought we had that locked down.
I was going for the Australian fan base. What happened here?
It was foolproof.
The Australian Party of America. I think that would be an interesting one. The APA. Let's see if that shows up in this next presidential election. But Pantheon Esports, they're not waiting, biding their time. Cassie and Leon, female power as well, with Despacito taking an R and Ying.
Popular Frontlines band out. Drogos taken off the board as well. It's noteworthy. Khan has definitely kind of stayed at the top of the pecking order. Makoa still floating around there, for better or for worse. I don't know if he'll ever move out of there just because of the way that people are and
the way that people are.
Inelasticity in their bands.
Yeah, I think that is a great point, and it's something we do bring up here and there. Again, there is this rigidity to the concepts that players bring in, and in many ways when you prep, that's kind of what happens, right? I mean, you prep for a test, you think that Colonel Sanders defeated somebody at the Battle of Bunker Hill. You don't go ahead and change your answer midway when you're writing and thinking, oh boy, did he really? You just commit. And so I think that's what a lot of these players do. They just kind of have, this is what's good, this is what's bad, this is what we're sticking to.
Yeah, this feels like, to me, Pantheon are looking to win the game with Cassie Leon. The reasons for picking that first, they're not clear counter picks that early in the draft. You don't know what Despacito is going to go with. And if anything, they're going to avoid, things that are going to be weak against said Cassie and Leon. But that's sometimes the way that you need to draft in these PGS games, right? Get your star players comfortable, get them on something that they can hyper carry with.
I would have loved to see something like that coming out yesterday in Europe for Mouse Sports, just getting Alex a little bit more comfortable with a Leon and a Cassie. I mean, just really a lot of flexibility, something that he's probably familiar with. Hit scan and projectile. And now we're going to take a look at these two teams, Karasuray, Zambi, Kakacho, Mr. Flexi, Marcus M. Those are players that we've seen for quite a while here with the Life Exchange Ying. The Street Justice Maeve, after that buff, Nick, and of course Just Breathe Cassie, which has made a little bit more of an entrance again.
And especially with plenty of range to work with here on Frog Isle. Death and Taxes should be really, really strong here against Ying, a character who is because of her unpredictability, it's hard to tell who exactly she's focusing on. Life Exchange is not abundantly clear who's getting that unless you're literally just staring at health bars. So the anti-heal coverage, especially early on, especially against the Nara, going to be very helpful.
Let's see where Marcus M's patience lies, because now he gets hit by a Just Breathe Cassie, and he's got to rotate. And now Cassie may be aware that he's not in the same position. Going to dodge roll away. 30% counting for Despacito, too.
Wow.
Marcus still finding shots, but hasn't hit the headshot that has made the difference. Maeve getting very low, but back around the corner. Still yet to make progress, and that's the first blood. Bryce goes down. The sniper seems to be uncontested as
Slow
of
and
now.
steady. Wins that race there. That power siphon kept that Cassie. I don't know if she realized it, but that was definitely keeping her on her toes for the time being. And just life exchanging away from the safety of behind this tree. Inara stays on her own feet, and after that initial pick, I mean, the map really opens up and the team gets a lot to work with.
Yeah, it's really that one that they're looking for, and that's why you see the patient game. Players don't rush as far because you're still feeling the team out. You've got some time. But Frog Isle is a rough way to start. It's a rough map, honestly, to start a best of 3 because this can be over in a blink of an eye, and then you're forced to make these adjustments off of very little game time in Game 2.
So at the highest level in the PPL, you see a lot of focus on the snipers, both Strix and Kinessa on this map. None of them banned out. Only one of them picked here, which tells you that, you know, not both teams are comfortable running it. They don't know how to operate around or with the sniper, but just the fact that we've seen it be so effective at the highest level of play. When Despacito 2 is comfortable picking up and another team is not, Kinessa looks to be just a big win condition for them and a big problem unless this Maeve can get to the backline and apply some pressure.
It looks like you're running a little elimination reduction. Is that possible? Let's take a look at the loadout here. I don't think I've seen that card very often. May not be. But he's running Sixth Sense. On Edge is another part of this loadout. The reason being, especially with Shred as well, Nick, is just, it's all about your pounces. But unlike the old Street Justice, which would do percentage-based health and ultimately allow you to double down and instantly delete somebody, this is more of an execution threshold. And you can, the first pounce doesn't do that much, and you cannot be your own setup as well, which is, I think, why we've seen Maeve drop off so significantly.
118 on the clock now. Payload coming up on the final corner as ultimates are now up and available. Headshot there, not quite enough to finish off Cassie outright, but Kakacho will do the job and then get up in a nice, interesting little perch there for Inara. It's definitely tough to get that aggressive with Inara unless you full commit. He may not come back from this.
Wow.
He may not need to.
Yeah, and this is a great time to ult. I mean, you have the momentum push through. There's absolutely nothing they can do but kind of just back off. You know the Slither's already used, so interesting choice not to go for the Damba here. They focus on the Terminus. And they just know that the Damba is going down.
Oh,
Lets the
no.
Warders field get the kill and the spray to boot. Kakacho. Showing off.
You could tell, I mean, that's just, you know, really good awareness and control of that fight there. Kind of funny, right, that he looks at that Mount Damba and says, not. And to be fair, that happens to Inara all the time, right? You know, people just look at her and says, that's just not my highest threat right now. I'm going to, you know, put you on the back burner for the time being. Inara just ignores the Damba. Lulls him into a false sense of security.
That's right.
Walls him off and then pancakes him with the Warders field.
Let's take a look at the healing as well, because that's where Life Exchange Ying is going to excel, and she's just been dominating these healing charts, man.
Damn.
It has been a very, very good time for her, and especially with a coordinated front line. Kakacho picking up the Rejuve 3.
After one round.
I mean, and this is really just Inara completely negating what this Leon is brought to do. So bringing in the death and taxes Leon, it's just the roughest combo to go against when you have this Inara who, with Earthen Guard, gets all that 90% back to 0.
Yeah, they're doing a good job keeping their backline safe. This Maeve is not doing any flanking. That's the big thing there. Comes a lot of ultimate seismic crash and enlightenment used so far.
Uh-oh, it's close. It's close to 35%. He knows it. A couple more shots. He just hasn't been able to find it, has he, Nick? It's just been very, very difficult. Obviously, the pounce can go through shields. One of the reasons why it was so effective in the first portion of, I guess, the summer, but slowly shifted. Baboon finding a kill on the Karis Ray. Kakacho still alive on a 7 streak. He's getting close to that 37% threshold, and that's it. That's what he's looking for. The instant elimination from Street Justice. Now a 35% just KO. Oh, misses that.
For the execute threshold. Can't quite. One
Nice.
more knife will do it. Paladin.
That was it.
Able to pick up 2 there before going down himself. Terminus on the objective. Comeback mechanic. Try to slow Fernando down, and he will just barely. The base slow from Shatterfall is enough to do it.
And that was just a great body block as well. It was just completely aware of where he needed to stand to make sure Fernando could not get there. And it's something that we don't see often every day, but the body block does happen, and it did happen there for a 2-1 position. And now they've got themselves a little bit of momentum. And it all changes when Maeve finds kills.
Bam. And that's exactly it. That's the difference this round versus last. No flank pressure versus a lot of ultimates. Honestly, just a lot of chaos in that first fight. You've got Terminus reanimating. You've got the cover of Darkness from Midnight. You've got the Scout coming out, Enlightenment. I don't think I saw it. We didn't see the Dread Serpent there, but a lot of chaos coming through from Pantheon that just what you need on Frog Isle to cross the big gap that is the point.
Don't think we've seen a Dread Serpent all game. I don't remember one.
Yeah, it's a fast charging ult too, so I don't like the call to really hold on to it.
Yeah, here's the reveal. Maybe they're saying this is the time to push. And to be fair, Nick, they haven't had a great time. It was either obviously going to be pushed in last round, or this round they seem to have a pretty clear control over the objective, at least from the beginning. And towards the end, Pantheon getting fully wiped though. Despacito 2 will come back out on top. Stall it out. Minute 15 left here as the teams regroup.
I think the easiest way to make use of the Dread Serpent, given where this Maldamba is playing, is probably to try and bring down Fernando's shield and put it on, because it's like a massive cooldown if you get it, once you commit it. So I think that's what he can do safely from the range that he's playing to maybe help this Maeve get that entry frag, to get to the back line more often, to have more success.
Or maybe it's just the support, right, to the back line. This Paladin trying to find a kill onto the Kinessa, which seems to be just holding him back, seems to be holding Baboon back, seems to be just a very difficult thing, as well as the BK. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Dread Serpent just to facilitate a kill on one of those damage dealers. So far, they don't need it, though. Stonebay finding Kakacho, and now Paladin is alive. That shield will not stop the pounce, which he has had prepped and ready. He's just going to use it to reposition, and that does not work. Marcus finds the head.
Dragged him down a second the feet touch the ground. He gone. Mr. Flexi finds Rice as well. Now they can move in. 2 hyper carries are down for Pantheon. It looks like the defense will probably hold from here. Nara's super far out on the zone. Nobody's going to be arriving on a horseback for sure. Baboon even will fall. In the last 10 seconds will expire. Despacito 2 will hold all of their ultimates. And Pantheon will be a little bit thirsty for ultimate charge when it's all said and done.
Yeah. Pantheon still have the Dread Serpent, still have the Reanimate. And you know what? I also like, after the Reanimate, going into the Dread Serpent. I like that call because it just gives Terminus the space he needs. Sometimes people just are ready to just instantly delete him, especially if Eagle Eye Kinessa can line up some headshots. You got Bomb King setting up some bombs there. I think there is a definite potential to just peel for him.
I think I'll take anything at this point.
I mean, he hasn't used it all game.
Rice 0-8, struggling as well on the Just Breathe Cassie, but that's not exactly surprising. There is good range. There is good fall-off curves on Pantheon's composition, but there's just better ones on Despacito too. I mean, this Kinessa is just winning that war from distance. The second she's dead, then Cassie and Leon can really start to take over.
I mean, Inaron, yeah. Fernando, that fireball's going to hurt no matter where it hits you. Gosh, Maeve just taking such a predictable path there, already off the mount very early. Didn't even try to get around it. It almost feels like Master Riding is necessary. And here's the Midnight. This is where they made the move last time.
Man, if you're going to pop that, why do it after you've been poked out and you've already fallen back? Pop that and then break, come out into line of sight. I don't understand that usage.
They also have the Cassie as well. Mr. Flexi finds Stonebay immediately.
Damn.
Although Mr. Flexi, Stonebay is still alive.
It
seems like the Cassie is going to go down here, and this is a clear domination from Despacito 2. The comeback mechanic helped round 1, but it doesn't seem like it's going to help much in round 3.
That's a decently staggered kill on a Terminus as well. 10 more seconds. I don't know if the Pantheon had 10 more seconds. 8 streaks, 15 streaks, 12, 6, all burning along for everyone on Despacito 2.
When did he use the Dread Serpent? Because I didn't see it.
I didn't either. May have been during midnight when we just didn't have vision because we were watching from Despacito 2's perspective.
Might have been. Might have been. Interesting choices. Definitely things to work on for sure for Pantheon. You can see Despacito 2 maybe just had a little bit of the moves on them for Game 1. But Game 2 is fast approaching. There's still a lot of chances for them to make amends. And I think it is not necessarily in the draft. It is sometimes in the execution where you see teams like at this level just separate each other.
Yeah, and you do get that win condition over on the Kinessa. Never an easy way to deal with it, I don't think. Buck was pretty popular on Frog Isle for a while, but he just as a whole I think has fallen down. Maeve was pretty popular for a while on Frog Isle, but she was not able to be very effective outside of that one, round where she did use Midnight appropriately.
Yeah, and she got the kills. I mean, she's looking to find big kills onto those front lines, just couldn't do it. So let's take a look at the maps for game number 2, and where we will travel will be Bright Marsh. Common map here for us Paladinos.
So don't be afraid to run the Maeve back, I think. If that's something that you're really comfortable with, can succeed a lot harder on this map. No Androxus either. I thought that was just such a funny thing to see, though, with very minimal changes to him, how high priority he was all of a sudden.
I think, you know, again, it is part of the rigidity and also part of the fact that when people say something's good, everyone just believes it's good. And there's truth to it, but it's also a little bit of the hype machine. It's a little bit of, okay, and these stock prices go up because everyone figures it out, but then they settle. Once you start to really see the true value, the worth, you look under the hood, so to speak, and you start to say, okay, here's really what's going on with this machine. Makoa and Leon taken instead of the Cassie and Leon we saw from Pantheon. They go for the Inara to start out and take that away from Kakacho.
Still Fernando down on the front line if anybody wants to go for the double. And the Furia will come through. Unpicked, unbanned in game number 1.
Notable.
Yeah, definitely notable. Ying, Life Exchange. Not exactly standard across the board here, but it seems as it's a bit of a comfort pick for Despacito, too.
Yeah, I mean, why not? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cassie taken as well. So Leon and Cassie been paired twice today, but on opposite teams. The Zen definitely giving them a little bit more pressure and a little bit more time to work through. It's the solo front line with a triple DPS and Furia, and Ruckus used to counter that essentially as a triple DPS, but a tankier version that can provide some support on the point.
We saw Tenor be very effective with Ruckus yesterday on Bright Mars, so what this Ruckus is probably looking to do is just sit on Furia, get up on the high ground, walk and drop on top of her, try and get that frag, or else she's just going to be pumping an aura full of healing the entire fight long. I think this is going to be interesting. There was one of two ways they could have gone with this: the Genos to supplement those DPS, or the Furia to really help out the front line and get some big juicy heals off and just try and maintain control of the point. I don't know which I would have rather seen.
It's interesting. You know, I mean, I think you look at Zen and you look at Royal Subjects and you look at Sapper Rounds and you just add a Luminary Genos onto that and you're saying, wow, that's good. And to me, it doesn't seem like they have a plan for Solar Blessing. Fury going unpicked, unbanned in last round when it was available and they go for the Damba instead. To me, that just feels like they don't feel comfortable running it. And that's why we're going to see the Cherish stick through. Interesting to see this.
That's another thing, right? You know, if you want to go in on, like, we're picking this to juice up our front line, go for the Solar Blessing. It's, I think, super easy to work with on Bright Mars when Inara is going to be in a very predictable situation. And Mr. Flexi looking for the pressure on to Furia, doing a good job finding it from distance. But Furia has, you know, virtually unlimited range on this map. She's not going to have any problems as long as she's got line of sight.
Yeah, and you know, Cherish also adds an aspect into her kit that we don't see used, at least in high level, which is the Pyre Strike being something for setup, for damage, for control, for peel. Where we usually see it oriented just around this heal, and that's something that Fury is going to hopefully be doing. But Karis Ray does not let him out of his sights, has to have been able to hit the presence there, and that will shut all of this down. Kakacho now with the zone and the Shell Shield, and Mr. Flexi just been a terror up top.
Drops down the wall, and you're right, high ground control completely in favor of Despacito 2 and their Ruckus.
Yeah.
Big heals coming through here, but Inara is nowhere near the objective, and it's going to take her a long time to waddle on back. She used her wall cooldown as well, so she won't be able to get in there.
I think Rice needs to get up there, Nick. I mean, I think Bomb King is the only person on this team, I mean, assuming you don't do the jump, that can just get up there and control and actually battle out with the Ruckus. Mr. Flexi just having his way of things. And so it does not look very good for Pantheon, although they are holding tight, 81% and counting. Rice survives that one, Cherish for the heal. And Light of Dawn giving him the bubble. He should get one more because I think Fury is still looking at him, but not enough time. And he goes down.
But you could see just how effective that 75% anti-heal was off the blast shot from Cassie. Woo! There was almost nothing to work with there. Marcus pretty dialed in here, but he's kind of been all day. It's not exactly surprising at this point. We'll likely be able to track down the Zin as well. One quick bolt to the chest, and Baboon shall fall. Payload goes to Despacito 2.
Yeah.
And they're well on their way.
And again, you know, without the proper peel for the Vivian, it does feel a little strange, especially if you're not running a Solar Blessing Inara where you're just like, man, we can't kill Inara. We need 2-3 people to kill her right now. You know, having the Vivian kind of be isolated there, you wonder, why not the Tyra? Why not amp that damage that you have already? If you're going to know Tyra is such a high pick, if Vivian is pretty much serving that role, why lose out on that bonus damage?
I mean, there's a ton of shield shred, I think. Just the Sapper rounds from Vivian, 2 shields with this Ruckus, with this Makoa. She will be able to box out a little bit better. But then that just kind of loops the conversation back around to Genos and like Luminaire. Some type of bonus damage for this 3 DPS, I think would have especially against Death. It's hard to double down on healing when you have Death and Taxes Leon in the game.
Yeah.
When you have Impulse Cassie in the game. There's a lot of anti-heal to go around out of the gate.
Yeah, but I mean, what we've seen with Inara is just, it's not possible to anti-heal her enough. You know, she will completely negate that Cauterize 3 with Earthen Guard and Reju 3. So it's, you know, it's one of those where they could have taken the risk. It worked against them. To me is what catches it by surprise. Maybe just not seeing something that is proven to be successful. Maybe just saying these players are, they're just at another level right now. We need to figure out our play before we start worrying about these drafts. Nice enlightenment there. We'll clean it up. Karasor will make it out alive. He has been performing well in this region for a long time, and he will continue to do so, though Baboon finds the kill.
I like the idea there. It looks like he went for the body block on the teammate. Marcus unable to finish the drill there, so to speak. Now Vivian will kind of have her chance to tee off on some targets. The Illusory Rift's going to keep everyone alive. Oh, but it looks like just for the purpose of sort of bailing them out.
Yeah, the blast shield, I mean, the blast damage, Cassie's still hurting so much there, and you can see Paladin basically getting low. He tried for the Maeve, a little bit off meta. Tried for the Vivian, definitely seen her work, but still slightly off meta. You wonder if Paladin's just the kind of player that likes to do things a little bit differently. Oh boy. And right now, this looks very similar to what I've seen.
Here comes trouble, brother. Wow. And that's that, folks. And that's that.
Yeah, that was Ancient Rage to the max, using one of the older weapons, the golden weapon here.
It's got a good twang to it.
It does have a good twang.
It crushes the skull of your enemies.
And he's doing very well himself. Adjustments, Nick, for round 2, if any, for Pantheon to stay in this game.
I think being a little bit more coordinated, because you're right, that's the one thing they have going for them, is they can get this healing through to Inara. So they have to make sure that damage reduction and Furia being ready to heal is something that's going to coincide, because they weren't doing a good job of it last time around. You saw a couple of just like failed heals from Furia come through, get nothing done. You saw a couple of big ones, and they, you know, they can be so impactful. So lining up and playing to the strengths, I think, of what you've drafted.
And I mean, just as a record, right, we look at how effective the Rejuve was on Inara. I think it is a mistake that they have Inara rush Cauterize and they don't go for Rejuve, you know, and they don't even take Solar Blessing. I think you have to rush Rejuve here in this type of situation. You are what's holding your team together. Your presence on the point. Nice seismic crash, and I love it. The double kill from Stone Bay, and it ends up working out.
2-for-1 burst there.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Ultimate advantage definitely you know, in favor of Pantheon. There, Despacito 2 used a couple down the stretch last round to get this one through. Very stylish play there from Stone Bay. And a Pantheon comeback mechanic is going to help them capture the payload in just under a minute.
Yeah, this is the way to go, for sure. This is the way to go right now. I wonder if we're ever going to see Wrath of Stigala and Nara become like a meta thing. You know, you get a Hunter's Mark Tower, you get a Luminary Genos, and
maybe if it gets bugged again, one-shots people.
Yeah, but it's so funny, man. I mean, you got to think about it. It's 225 a pellet, or a burst, and the third burst is like 450. I mean, it's something like 800 damage from Inara every little pellet burst if you hit all 3. It's pretty nutty. I'd love to see it, but Baboon, he just had to go back to base. Regroup here.
I think Wonderful could probably do it. Ovum could probably do it.
Yeah.
Guys that play Inara that way, could probably do it. But then you have to ask, how much does, you know, the cripple field, or how much does the extra damage reduction allow you to play that way to make you think about Wrath of Stigala in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and she also, I mean, it would be a little bit of a different loadout. I mean, she's got some good stuff, but you definitely would have to kind of max out your damage reduction on some of the other things to be able to stay safe in this competitive nature. Max your rejuve, possibly. Would be a lot of fun, though, to see that pulled out the high level. We're seeing a lot of things. Haven't seen any Pip since the fall split began. The Volpine has been missing, and this is his home.
He's not one I expected to completely exit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, got a couple little nerfs there. She meant to do that.
She did. But it was so close to the stairs that you thought, did she or did she kind of want to go on the stairs?
Depends just what story you want to paint at that point. I think the world is your easel.
Yeah, that's true. I had a great coach when I was younger. He would just say the field is your easel, basically. Paint. He would tell me that before I go out into a soccer match. It was very Bruce Lee-esque of him.
30 seconds
and I appreciated that very much.
Did he stand with both hands crossed behind his back?
Yes.
Calm demeanor?
Yes. Name
Checks
was
out.
Travis Kikagawa. He's a great, great coach, great mentor. Wonder what he's doing now.
Well, maybe he could coach up some Paladins here
Hey,
in OCE.
I tell you what, man, this is a guy that you'd want in charge of a lot of things. Very, very strong mind, great, great mental game, and brought a lot to the table. Despacito 2 here, unfortunately not going to be able to push, and it is going to be Pantheon who are facing defeat if they do not capture this objective and keep this round going. And it's not looking like it will happen. This is almost a mirror of what happened last round, or last game.
Yeah, pretty much, and you get to get the defensive point to score that 3-1 there. Despacito 2. Now they've got some more ultimates in the tank. They lack the Ging Up, but one of the quicker charging in the game. 0-2 and 20, pretty good in terms of support slash lines. Baboon, again, struggling 1 and 7.
Yeah.
Rice 1 and 8 on the Bomb King. So rough day for the damage dealers of Pantheon. I don't know. Maybe that's why they don't.
I mean, that's
want to
definitely
invest
yeah.
into Luminary and stuff like that.
Oh man, yeah, they're having some issues clearly. Clearly having some issues here. Snowbay gonna go and wall off the point, taking some damage from Marcus, and he knows it. And now he sees the Ruckus trying to isolate him, and now that's gonna be a very nice pickoff. Sin knows, and this is the Inflame as well, so they just move in with a ton of damage. Rice gets the Cherish Shield. That's a big deal. Marcus goes into the Ancient Rage, but he realizes he's lost his target as he becomes fully healed. Oh, maybe gets caught by the door. Is he going to King Bomb here? No, he just knows he's getting expected. Oh, my God. He's going to... I think that was a mistake.
Did not mean to do that.
Did not mean to get off that one. Oh, no.
And Kakacho, I think, honestly, some of the best sort of just space creating I've seen on Makoa in a minute, right? You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people like to go to the back line, sort of bully, but you got Ruckus for that. Makoa isn't the best in the game at that, but Kakacho isn't really showing us that. He's done a really good job with his Ancient Rages, even with just Shell Shield and holding the W key at buying space on Bright Marsh.
And they go for the Ruckus, too, which is a very difficult thing. What an enlightenment. Karis Ray just outplays him to the max with the spray as well to get wrecked. Absolutely appropriate in that situation. That is going to be Despacito 2 claiming their second victory and doing a great job here of cementing themselves as a contender. Maybe that Loto Gaming to your Nocturnes or your Burrito or your now free agent boys in Latin America. It's a great sign for OCE to have a team definitely surging and contesting the top.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome to watch. Now Trident go against Kanga as well. That's going to be our next matchup for the day. We're doing all these games here in the Global Series now, so hopefully just the consistent play will allow these teams to figure each other out a little bit more and probably become more competitive and not have to take that, you know, couple-week break in between qualifying and the phase finals. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I think getting to know each other, coming up with different strategies. What we see so often is that the PPL, the teams there, have known, played each other, and been able to develop off of that. Even from the beginning of Paladins Esports, it's what separated the guys like D69 and the Gangstars and Burrito and whatever you say, because they were just kept playing against each other, raising their own level.
Yeah.
And that's what something that the PGS hasn't had, because there's been a lot of new competitors rolling in every week, and now with this league structure, it has been really great for the Global Series. I believe we'll be able to take a look at the schedule for today and see exactly what we have coming up next. Kanga and Trident, as Nick mentioned, will be the following game, and we'll be showing that right now before we even take a break. Then North America will be right after that. Tyso Florix facing off against Big Egos, and Buh facing off against Ferocity. Should be fun.
Oh man, that name never gets old. Probably never
Buh.
will. I mean, North America stays very competitive. That's probably one of my favorite regions overall to watch because they don't really have that Kanga. They don't really have that free agent boys or that space station. It's, you know, it's always changing hands, it feels like.
There's a lot of players who are also just really moving into higher echelons of play a day in and day out. And there's a lot of mentorship as well from the PPL, I think, into players that are PGS. You see Flame Effects, actually one of those players that you're watching in the PGS. You've seen him in high-level ranked. He's now a sub for G2. All these guys kind of get, when they do well, they get picked up, they get moved in, they get kind of taken under somebody's wing.
And Doe hit me last night. Bodies is on a 3-week backpacking vacation, so Flame's playing.
Yeah, he's going to play for them.
And my first game of 1.4 on live, it was against Cuss and Flame, and boy, did they dump on me.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Well, let's take a look at the maps here for game number 2. Trident and Kanga will be going at it. Ascension Peak? No. Stone Keep. All right.
What made you say that? Was it a shot in the dark?
No, I think Kanga just kind of, I see them at Ascension Peak. It's just constantly a map that features in their games, in my opinion.
Well, we'll kick it off here on Stone Keep. Always excited to watch what they've got in store. And Ascension Peak, still I think a fun place to watch because I don't know if anyone's really sold each other on the best way to do it. I think there's a lot of ways to approach that because it's one of the more unique maps, and I hope maps going forward are kind of bringing that to the table, right? You know, whether it's a bigger or smaller capture point, right? Something like that I think brings a really, really nice flavor that helps spice up that map.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kanga going with the Leon, the Willow and the Makoa bands, as well as the Khan and Torvald on the table. And it'll be Fernando and Inara for Trident. So double front line, securing what they feel is a lack thereof as far as potential to draft out, but they leave open the Drogos. And that is scary.
Can't get love them some Furia. They can hit the gas pedal. It's tough, right? It's tough to go for that strategy when you're on the back foot or you're the underdog to go for that sort of like, you know, put your hands up and get against the ropes and sort of just survive to win the fight. That's not a strategy that I've seen work very often against teams that are going to be out in front of you. Like Kanga, I think will be in this matchup in particular.
Yeah.
But if that's what you're comfortable with.
Ash taking again with Barrack. So, you know, a team that's on top taking a character that's typically on the bottom. I don't know how this will work, but I'm expecting them to at least have some strategy around it and be able to coordinate around it than some of the other teams we've seen use it almost as a last-ditch effort to say, hey, let's just take this front line because this is kind of what's left.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Fernando Bombkin can be a pretty nice aggressive combination, and Droxus can, with mobility, float kind of be anywhere on the map where he needs to be. If they position this Grover appropriately and play their aggressive win condition, which I think is the Bomb King Fernando, up in this gatehouse, I think they can, you know, do a decent job at going to work.
I like Grover here. I do. I think he's good. I don't think it's his best map, but I think he does well, especially if you really go for efflorescence. And that's going to be something where, you know, we've seen these guys take games off of Kanga. We've seen the J Quib and the way that this is the team that did the Vivian protect the president kind of play.
Right.
And, you know, going against Chronix and Os Rhino and Joel's, you know, Ninham, Corlin, guys that have been here at LAN, that have been grinding, that have had success. This is going to be a tough matchup for Trident, but they've got some players that have done it before. Os Rhino here on the Ash. Can't wait to see how this works. He is running Fortress Breaker. You can tell by the shield.
You can tell by the way that it is.
Yeah, how big it is. And that's a nice little kinetic burst there.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It's
Gets
3 people. It's pretty important, I think, that Trident are controlling this gatehouse because Grover is going to be able to sit on that balcony, heal people below him, on the stairs beside him, down on the point pretty much. If you lose that and you have to play at a cathedral, it's tough just because there's not as much cover there. There's not as much up-down because Grover, you know, when you don't have vertical mobility and you try and collapse on Grover, he can jump down, you jump down, and he just binds back up. Yeah. Kind of what we saw, you know, that rope-a-dope sort of thing that Bugsy was doing yesterday to Talus. You can do kind of with Grover.
Well, let's see how that plays out. Os Rhino going down. I mean, just a rough one, man. And you know what? I feel like he got very, very close. And this is the thing I see with Ash players all the time. She's got so much effective range. She is a long-range champion with her weapon. But everyone plays her mid to close range. They just jump up in everyone's face. And that is just, it makes her more vulnerable to being interrupted with her dash. I mean, this Grover, Lilac, is going to have the chance to just make Os Rhino's day the worst because he can crippling throw her during that long windup and sorry, you're not getting out.
Oh my goodness, Ninham just absolutely obliterates Purple Sherbert in the midair after he picked up the Bomb King, and now you're right. You can see that range a little bit on display. Kanga Esports off the heels of Ninham. One of the more impressive rookie performances we've seen from a guy at LAN in a long time. This is definitely his comfort champion, so if he's going to pop off on something, it's going to be Leon.
Yeah.
And I think he's the guy that brings him back into this one.
I like it. Not really running much Manifest Destiny, you could tell. Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little Heir to the Throne if you take a look at his loadout. But level 3 only. We see a lot of players run level 5 and level 3 or 4 of Heir to the Throne. He's only level 1. Going for Swift Jade and Divine Right adds a little bit more, and as well, really prioritizing just the health from Leon.
It's that old school feel to Leon. Coming in for a big fire spit there. Corlin keeps them on the back foot. Kanga will capture the first objective of this map. Enlightenment is fully charged. J-Quib goes down again. Corland, talking about the newest member of Kanga, played as a sub. I think he did a little bit of coaching for them at one point. Was like a 6th man for them way, way back in the day. Played on his own teams around OCE. But now a little bit of shifting has come through for Kanga Esports. He's kind of filled in on that third carry spot. And it looks like Chronix has basically full-time gone to support in place of Nudie.
And this is smart. I mean, I think Chronix is just such a mechanically gifted player. He knows Paladins, though, and he's got some of the better moments in all Paladins esports history with some incredible just ice mines, comeback plays that just, remind us of the good days. And he still has more time to make those moments happen yet again, and I hope he does. There's a whirlwind from Grover. Corlin finds Daddy DLS, and this is putting Oceania in a little bit of a pickle, but he's got the range now. He's just going to shoulder bash away, and that little moment, that window, is where you're hoping as an Ash to not get caught out.
And I think... maybe that's probably part of the pause earlier.
Yeah.
So hopefully Kanga get that figured out. And just talking a little bit about their team in the meantime. What the hell?
Last man standing wins.
What's going on there, Joel? A little misclick?
I don't know, maybe.
A little oopsie daisy?
A little bit of a misclick, possibly.
Anyway, once Josh left, I think it was probably a little bit of Hades taking over the reins, but Hades left quickly after Josh to leave Diggy to then kind of take up the reins and sort of lead the team. And then when Diggy left, it was Chronix. So moving to that support, we see a lot of guys captain teams from the support position. So seems to be a pretty natural fit for Chronix.
And you could see what's wrong a lot easier. You could tell who's not performing. You don't have to be the one performing and then saying, how did that happen? I'm in the back line, guys. I just killed 2 people. How did we lose the point fight? And you can direct. You're right. He's just a veteran player to be able to do that.
Instead of hitting the Diggy Dog face, you're looking through your eyebrows, right? You're like tunnel vision to the max. I can't imagine you make a lot of good calls looking through your eyebrows.
Yeah, I don't think that's possible, especially if you have bushy eyebrows.
Yeah.
Then that makes it even more difficult here. Very good hold, but you got to say that Kanga were troubled with some very questionable dome shields, as well as Ninum clearly not staying connected throughout at least a little bit of that round.
Yeah. And the death before that one, he just like walked into 5 of them, so hopefully he's back in the driver's seat at his PC. Still 7-2, the internet giving him 2 deaths there, and beyond that, a great round from the kid.
Listen, the internet has slayed more than 2 people there. Only 2 deaths by the internet as an online gamer is a solid stat line right there. And Shakespeare as well. No poetry, no iambic pentameter at this time around, but it is a little bit of a nice sign to have 3-3-3, as well as Purple Sherbert, who's also 3-3-3.
3 of a kind.
3 of a kind.
They had a good initial fight, and then Kanga hitting some speed bumps in the middle of the round there. It's going to leave us at 1-1.
Yeah.
Ninum goes for the even 1-tier buys across the board, which is something that bots do, so that's I'm a little worried.
Yes,
about whether or not he wanted to do that.
He may not have, but you know what? Man maketh item, or item maketh man. I think at this point you're seeing the man maketh the item.
He looks good, Evan.
Yeah, he looks good.
Back.
I think he's fine. Finds the triple kill. This just seems like clockwork, man. This seems so easy. Wow, that was not even a fight. Boy, oh boy. Androxus gets caught out, and Ninum just makes everybody pay.
Man, what a fun character to watch. She gets in that spot. That's like one of the most fun times to watch Leon. All the cooldowns are landing, the ultimate's getting kills, and then the cooldowns are back up. Very, very, very nice flow to the character.
Very, very. And what he's doing is with Swift Jade, every time he hits that Valor, he is being able, oh, nice wall as well, and it shuts down the King Bomb. Every time he hits that Valor, depending on how many people he hits, he's getting cooldowns off of his slide. So he's able to slide in, hit Valor, get the cooldowns back. They've got the objective for now, but Corlin finds a kill up above, and Purple Sherbert trying his best, but Purple Sherbert has always been an irrelevant ice cream flavor, or at least sherbet flavor, so I don't know if it's going to contend with the top dogs.
Roy shall have words with you, sir.
Rory will definitely be like, dude, come on, man, that is the jam. But
oh, man.
If you're going to go for purple, why not just go for rainbow and get it all?
Why not have it all?
He took offense to that. Look at him styling right now.
Good dashes coming through here. Trident Esports, turn it around. Coming on back after the 1-1, so no comeback mechanic, just good old-fashioned butt whooping.
And, you got to say, with the way that Corlin made, the way that Ninum made Purple Sherbert pay in round 1, he made the right adjustment to just go farther back. He was in the process of, I can stay here and fight, stay exposed midair, or just run away into their backline, and it distracted 2 to 3 members of Kanga Esports.
2 minutes on the clock now, trying to find these entry frags. Joel drops down the barricade, gets under his divine blessing. And he'll be back up to full HP. This is a really good spot to work with that because you basically can't miss it.
Right.
Joel's standing up on this little catwalk. As he gets stunned out here, as he gets taken down, he's going to need another beam soon.
Yeah, so the thing I don't like about what they're doing is Solar Blessing onto the lowest health front line in the game. I think that almost defeats the purpose in many ways. And wow.
Ninim helped him out there.
He did, but just still the noise. It's still onomatopoeia. It makes sense. I think nice fire spit from Corlin. Definitely feeling confident here. He's running combustible, as you can tell. But to me, it's like you're not getting as much value. You're really not. And I think Barrick, I mean, he's already got the 2 shields. Why not give him a 3rd? He's getting it with Light of Dawn, but make that Cherish feel a little bit more valuable.
Yeah.
Kindle Soul.
It's an interesting conversation. I think if Corlin's up here right then they can make use of it with 2 people. I think there is room for it to succeed here just because of the catwalky nature of Stone Keep. Divine Blessing going to kind of just fit right in there perfectly. But they need to come through for Chronix because Inara is sort of just bullying her way through.
I know you keep. I'm gonna save you now. Solar Blessing, because we were talking Smite earlier. So you're Divine ruining the Solar Blessing.
I think that's what Ra's Beam is called in Smite.
Yeah, dude. Solar. Is it Divine Blessing? It might be. You're right. That might be his 2.
Something solar. He is the god of the sun after all.
He certainly is. One of the Egyptian gods you always know growing up. You always learn about Ra. You always learn about Amun-Ra. And at this point, though, the sign of Alzyko looking more and more like the god of the realm. Just so good from Ninim and Corlin today. And they're most likely going to stall this out. Overtime will be taken away, but they're still in Nara. So things can happen. Daddy DLS getting a little bit of pressure. But a double fire spit. Oh, luckily blocked by the wall. That was a little bit of luck and fortune there.
That was awesome. It came up right in between the spit and the rocket. That was destined to blow it up. This fire spit will not connect either.
After hitting so
Got bit by a bug or something.
Ow! And that was just great. And that's what you want to see. And he uses the Enlightenment completely unnecessarily, right? Especially with the Dragon Punch. It looked cool, but it was so unnecessary.
Sure did look cool. And unnecessary.
But they lose that point fight coming back, so
yeah,
I don't know.
In terms of unnecessary ultimates, Enlightenment, as long as you're getting the kill, is one that can sort of bandage its own wounds, but
yeah. But the Dragon Punch used as well.
There's always a min to be maxed.
Yeah, that was... See, they had everybody dead to rights, and maybe that's what it was. Corlin not getting that Dragon Punch onto really anybody in the Inara. Didn't get it back for the second round. If he can Dragon Punch the Inara, and then on the second round, or first part of this, actually find the kill just without ultimates, that is probably what they're looking for, and that will help them to succeed. So far, the Cathedral being closed in, and Shakespeare goes into the King Bomb. He doesn't find much, and the Immortal is forced. So this is where Ash kind of loves to live, and I love the adjustment, just fighting from farther away, Nick.
Cancels it pretty early on, though. Corlin wants to make it out of this one alive, and King Bomb retreating right into the arms of Ninim, who's already won a 1v1 with Purple Sherbert, and this Dome Shield getting so much value in the Gatehouse here. The Fire Spit's ripping apart the front lines as well.
And this is why they're confident taking these Cathedral fights against an Efflorescence Grover. Normally, it's just an incredible amount of healing. But when you have Follow the Scent, which is being his loadout here for Corlin on Combustible, and you have the ability for him to have these just displacing fire spits sending you left and right, this way and that, front line and back line, into your own back line, you really feel confident taking these fights grouped up.
Fire spit lands as well. The pressure staying high. Here comes the seismic crash kind of from downtown. Rhino, I don't know if he's going to be able to bail out of this one. Just barely a little late on the beam coming through. The fire spit still finds 3.
And that's what's so good about it. Look at this. And maybe he wanted to stay high. Maybe he should have gone into the Dragon Punch immediately because they had to look up and they had to look down, and then they could both look down. And look at this. Joel's just not enough healing in general, not enough health to sustain 3 people shooting at him, although Solar Blessing almost did the job. But that was the only way he could counter it.
Plenty of time to bring this one back.
That's a big kill.
And Rhino will find Shakespeare a little overzealous on the zone. It opens the door for Kanga to come back. They were prepared to kick it down, but it's been left open for them. And very cinematic dunk onto the objective. Rhino, very easy for him to make his way back in.
Oh, yeah, I like it. Good shots as well from Rhino. Everything working well. You could tell that there was just Kang Esports getting off to a great start in that last one, and now Rhino's looking to continue the push, the zone, as they grab this objective and spray the wall with a little bit of a Gurk spray from OB64. Or really, what, 70?
Man.
What changed it? I think it was 70, right? That changed it?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. It's a dark time in our past that we
blacked out.
try not to think about.
I'm blacked out.
It's one of those nights
I don't know
where
what happened.
Better not to remember this one, buddy. Just go ahead and say that.
The night is always darkest just before the dawn.
Exactly. You know, now I would love to take a look at as well. It was the Grover loadout because I actually was playing a lot. Lilac's a good player, and there's something that I was running, and it was Vine Grasp 5.
Okay.
The distance that actually pulls you is remarkable.
Yeah.
It's surprising. And as an old school Grover player, old school Paladins player, I guarantee you will still be surprised at how far that actually is. And it makes me think the ability for Grover to get in and get out. I mean, you could be flanking the back line or right back with your back line in an instant. And I think it's something that, you know, once it gets out there, players may start taking a look at it.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Maybe it could be something that helps Grover expand his map pool, because right now the maps that he succeeds on
are
the
close in,
ones,
right?
You don't need to move a whole lot. You sort of get to your spot, and then it's damage reduction and more health that help you stay there. But I am certainly not opposed to more Grover.
I mean, and then you have I had a loadout that was very funny. It was you run the crippling throw cooldown, so you would just be able to vine in, hit your crippling throw, and it's back to like 2 seconds. And if you fall below 30%, you actually get that like somersault reset. So you're just vining all day, here and there and left. And Kanga Esports, they say, I'm okay with you vining anywhere you want, just not in terms of the objective going into our base. We'll put it in yours, and that's going to be a 1-0 lead in this set. Game 2 coming up, though, and hopefully Trident Esports will be able to get a win. They did well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're capturing points, they're holding defenses, they're closing the gap on Kanga as well. There's a couple of missteps here and there for Mr. Ninim, but overall they got it back under control and got that win at the end of the day.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see maps coming up, and will it be an Ascension Peak? I feel like I always see Ascension Peak with Kanga, and it's not. It's Bright Marsh. So Grover will still be really valuable here. And even though we didn't check the healing numbers very often, I would have assumed that he actually was either top healer or very, very close. Efflorescence is just immaculate in terms of healing. It is,
yeah.
Even if you're not building for it in terms of efflorescence radius, the base efflorescence radius increases enough on most maps to just make it such a powerful tool.
So yeah, Rampant Blooming, that talent needs to be reworked, because now they basically do the same thing.
Yeah.
Except one's way better.
Exactly. I feel like Rampant Blooming... what does he not augment, right? We have one that does, well, basically
Rampant Blooming is like
Blossom.
after you Q.
You should be a Vine legendary. No, I know, because I'm looking at what skill does it not.
I think it would be cool, right? Like a Vine when you can hit an enemy and pull them to you instead, or something like that.
Cool.
I don't know, something corny.
Yeah, but something for Vine, right? That's kind of how they do it. You know, you get your
Right.
Salvo legendary, your Booster legendary, your Direct Shot legendary, your Fire Spit legendary. Talent.
Not your passive healing legendary, your passive healing legendary, and your active healing legendary.
Your active healing legendary, your passive healing legendary, your passive healing legendary, and your axe legendary. I mean, what else is Grover but an axe and some heals? You know what I mean? That's really all Grover is.
He's a simple man.
He's a simple man.
Simple taste.
I like my trees and my axe. Imagine living a life. Somebody might live a life out there where you go out every day. You watch Paladins Esports, of course.
In your cabin in the woods.
And then you chop trees.
On your CRT.
You chop firewood.
16-inch TV.
And then you just come back and you finish off with some PPL.
Oh, man.
I don't know. There's got to be a guy. Got to be a guy out there.
It might be my dad. Honestly, my dad chops a lot of firewood. That's like his new thing. And he does from time to time say, I'm getting better at understanding the game. I know it's forward for points, hold defense for points. I understand the scoring. Characters, we'll get there maybe someday, but that might be him. You may have just described my dad.
I may have. I feel like if you're new to games, Paladins probably got to be as hard to follow as a MOBA. I mean, you have a little bit more similarities, but knowing the nuances, I mean, all of these champions, with them, with all these loadout cards and options and all of the 4 talents for each, I mean, the possibilities of what could be played here, it's quite a lot. So
it's happening almost all the time in first person.
In first person, right. So you have
no bird's eye.
You have a limited frame of reference. It's one of the things that it's why you get into games. We always talk about this at the office. It's just MOBAs. You kind of get into MOBAs and you choose your MOBA because there's just, you don't have time to choose 3 and know all 3. Or 4. I say 3, but there are more MOBAs out there. But are there?
Well, you got your League, your Dota, your Smite.
If you include HOTS.
Is Han still around? Heroes of New Earth?
I think it is, but man, if you're playing Heroes of New Earth,
I think that's just an older. I think that's just like the older one.
It was before
that's
Dota.
Sort of like,
right?
Maybe it went peacefully, right? Maybe it, lived a good life.
I feel like it was either Dota, Han, Dota 2, or it was Han.
I think it was Dota, Han, Dota 2.
Dota, Han, Dota 2
I think
is
Han
kind of
was
what
in between Dota and Dota 2.
That's kind of what I thought. I don't even know what original Dota looks like.
Warcraft 3 mod.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but I don't even know what it looks like. That's what I'm saying. What does that even...
Did you ever play Warcraft 3?
No.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, my friend.
Sad day.
I'm sorry.
Maybe
I'll let
Warcraft
you down.
4.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens at BlizzCon announcements, huh? Right now, though, we got a beautiful, beautiful game here with Daddy DLS. Nice little con battle shout. Oh, Ninum finding the kills, and this is where we talked about Androxus. Is he running the loadout that allows him to get the... Oh, nobody's...
Punchy boy.
Yeah, Punchy Boy Androxus. I like that. Punchy Boy.
All right.
Punchy Boy Androxus.
So shall it stick.
So it was said, and so shall it stick. Punchy Boy Androxus.
42% on the Accursed Arm as well, getting a lot of damage out here in the early game. Ninum, very effective, misses his reversal though, but no one is concerned with him, so he will get to shoot for free, and therein lies the problem for Trident Esports.
Why also, let's just talk a little bit about the bigger question, because I do want to give respect to this game because Kanga and Trident are very competitive in many ways. A lot of talented players on each team. Kanga obviously with more experience, a little bit more direction. But I would expect Trident to be your second place if this continues to go because they're putting up a fight. And this is Kanga clearly being the top seed in Australia. But I want to talk about Androxus for a little bit because we have seen the punch bring him back into viability, Nick. Clearly that's what it is, the punch range. You can hit people so much more effectively. It's so much more available as a finisher. But do you think that we'll ever see anything besides Heads Will Roll as the talent? Darkstalker also got buffed from 40 to 50% where it starts acting.
I think Punchy Boy's basically sitting where like Over the Moon would be right now. Can it work? Yeah, it's just so all in. And if you have to go all in all the time, it's just very predictable. And people just kind of, I think, can play around that blind aggression.
Wow, that's a really good way to put it. You always think about it being safe, right? Because it's like it's safer to do Wormhole because you get the sustain. But the thing about Over the Moon is you're right. It is predictable as to how you're going to get value out of this. That's the same way where you look at things like Deep Roots, right? You know exactly what that Grover is trying to do. He's trying to root you. I don't know. I definitely think that's a good way to look at it. Minute and 20 seconds left. So far, though, who cares? I mean, you let the Makoa through. Joel's knows what to do with it. And not usually a frontline player. Started out as a damage player for this team, but has shifted onto these roles with Hades going to that captain role, and now from the captain to the owner role and more general manager.
And I think doing pretty damn well at it.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the, I saw Kanga at an Overwatch League broadcast, doing pretty well. I mean, I think it's a good thing because this is probably a thing that gave Kanga probably got a lot of their notoriety through Paladins for their first couple of years because they were so successful. Yeah. And I mean, all of our bigger events, Kanga were a part of it, top 4. And so it's nice to see the org, especially when you know who made it, kind of expanding. I like that.
Exactly, and it's good to have that representation in that region. OC it's easy to forget about them down there with 300 ping and, on a literal island kind of by themselves, so... I think they bring a lot to the table and a lot of fun times, a lot of fun stories from these guys down under.
When everyone goes to sleep, it's like the people who just stay up until 3 to 4 a.m. tweeting and the people from Australia who are just living their lives. That's the crazy thing about it. Khan's definitely going down there. Corlin making sure he has a heck of a day, and I love it. The combustible fire spit salvo combination. Corlin finds another one. It's that easy. It's all over.
Ancient Rage wasn't glamorous, but just allowed Joel to stay alive and keep doing what he was doing, and the boys took care of the rest. Fire Spit's definitely taken over, man. I think.
Oh, yeah.
People are back to just being so effective with it.
I mean, follow the scent, dude. Come on.
Come on, dude.
Come on, dude. You get your mass application of Cauterize. I mean, who else applies Cauterize besides Leon and Willow that effectively?
Arguably no one.
There's no one.
I think even with the 100% and the 90% reduction with death and taxes and dead zone, I don't think either of those things are as consistent as fire spits, because fire spits break line of sight and they go around corners.
Yep.
And they're still big when they do it.
That's right. That's right. He can stay safe while doing it. And just around the corners, around shields, positions that Willows can't hit without completely exposing themselves.
Low to high as well.
Yep. It's just, it's why Drogoz has always been so good. I mean, this ability right here in itself, when you hit it, Corlin's been hitting quite a bit.
And I'll never forget, I didn't, maybe it wasn't in the tooltip or something back in the day, but I had no idea you could shoot your fire spits. And so I was just like, I would loogie and I'd be like, what a useless ability. Does 150 damage if I hit it. I'm like, God, I hate this character.
God, he sucks so much, dude. You know what's so crazy, too? That's what I like about it as well. That displacement. Someone's chasing you. Someone's got you on the ropes. You hit that fire spit. Not only is it 1,300 damage with combustible and the anti-healing as well, but then they're displaced. They're like, well, I was going to chase you, but now you actually bumped me into one of your teammates, and I feel like I can't pursue this. It's just a great way to be so offensive, yet still be defensive. And that's kind of Drogoz in a nutshell, in my opinion.
And then knockback, like one time yesterday, for instance, sometimes it's just like dumb. Like,
yeah.
I don't understand.
Like, how does that happen?
It like turns up to 11 and just sends people flying across the map. Happened once yesterday to a Torvald. I can't remember what map it was on, but you know, sometimes that combustible knockback can change the course of a fight.
And they finally tried to get Corlin, but he was such a nuisance that they sacrificed everything. They totally sacrificed their position. They fell apart in terms of their structure as a team, and it just ended up being a full wipe onto Trident Esports. Seismic Crash from Inara, looking to find Ninim. It looks like they will get him.
That's the oldest trick in the book. How do you not see that one coming?
I don't know. Maybe he just didn't have his dashes up.
The peekaboo Seismic Crash.
Also, how much are they requiring Corlin to do what he has been doing to be successful against this Khan and this Inara? Very tanky, very self-healing, very good. I mean, he is applying a lot of Cauterize all the time, and when that's not there, it is looking like a different team fight.
Yeah, they're playing well together. I think Joel and the Corland on the Drogoz Makoa. That's the kind of note I want to see here. I want to see this, the Khan Bomb King. I think that's a really strong combination for them to play around. Obviously, it helps when that stun lands for sure. But they're very split up right now, and I think Khan plus something is really what you want to do when you get Khan. It's a blessing.
Yeah, and I definitely missed Accelerate. J-Quib, again, on his J-Quib things, on the Zen. Finally finding some value, and this is 3-1. Kanga Esports now, they have so much momentum, but once it's quelled, really good job for Trident Esports for fully stopping them.
Oh, that Khan skin, man.
And they're doing it from Australia, so, you know, showing the love from down under. I don't know.
Maybe there's a bigger Australian-American party than you thought.
There might be.
Because there's clearly a bigger American-Australian party.
There's clearly a market for it, Evan. He's wearing the skin. What more do you need?
Oh, man. Overpower, it's going to be down, though. Daddy, he's got his morale boost, too. And he's going to try and get that charge back up. That's really, I think, they have to start just scooping a kill with it rather than not. You got to find a way to be effective with it.
Yeah.
But I think Kanga may be realizing that, never really playing near the water.
That's, you know what? Daddy DLS goes for very early, because of Joel's finding that hook, use of the Battle Shout. That is just rough, because now Lilac is exposed. There's no way he gets out. And a nice hook as well. He just stays. He knows there's nothing he can do. Tries to get some ultimate charge, I guess. He might have had the Dread Serpent, but they probably just wanted to
kind of looked at him
reset.
for a second and then just...
Oh, it's you. Oh, it's you, the turtle. There's probably not a lot I can do here, huh? He already used his ult, so he might have just said, this is game over.
Yeah, still big ults left in the tank here.
Whirl.
Cute.
Look at this guy.
Very cute. Very special. The Quibster.
I mean, you know, if Nenim wasn't there, maybe he has a chance to 1v1 Corlin, change this pace, give Lilac some room to get back in, Purple Sherbert a little bit of time. I mean, he did the right thing. And Lilac's going to stop again. They know Kanga Esports today was just a little bit... Look at Bomb King. Oh, man, he had a rough night.
He just hung.
He had a rough night, dude. That was
Send
funny.
a message. You
The
come around the
Mafia.
corner and your teammate's just like hanging there like dead on the point.
Lilac's just in shock.
Next round. Coming. I'll be back.
I told you to stay away from Bright Marsh.
Not this round.
Told you to stay away from Bright
Not
Marsh.
this map.
This is what happens when you don't listen. That's what happens when you don't listen. Maldamba understands the threat now, and I think that everyone in Australia and OCE region knows that Kanga Esports is still here, still ready to go,
Right.
and still ready to take the lead. They're going to go 2-0 here as we take a look at the standings. And it will be Trident Esports who fall 0-2, and Pantheon as well. No one can take Despacito 2 down, but that doesn't mean that Trident Esports won't be able to do the same.
Right. Doesn't that bode well for the region, right? They're
it does.
0-2, and they did that well against Kanga, right? So very excited to see Kanga and Despacito 2 go at it.
I think it was a 2-1. I believe they did play before, and I think it was a 2-1. So it's going to be interesting to see them clash yet again. Love the way that we saw this.
Well, they've only played 2 games, and none of them have a loss. So there's no way they could have played each other.
Wait, that's right. Despacito. That's right. I guess I'm just looking at the 2-0 and thinking with those teams down that way. So they haven't played their third game yet. So that clash is still ready to happen. Will be very exciting as well to see. We are going to go on a quick break, guys. We'll be right back with some more PGS action getting into North America for the second half of today. And, of course, we still have the PPL showing up a little bit later as well in the afternoon. So stay tuned for all of that. We got a great show coming up. See you after this.
Fill up with emotions. Could I taste them for real? Longing for you. Oh, but I can't get back. What can I do? What can I do when your train is gone? I don't wanna go back. Don't wanna go back. If you are not with me, hey, do you read me? Go back to where we came from. If my hands are empty, hey, do you read me? Go back.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Paladins Global Series here. Evan Rayner and William Newberry V, Goremizer, and Rain Dave, of course. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah?
It's been a relatively interesting one. I mean, Trident put up a lot more of a fight against Kanga than I actually kind of expected, so that was exciting, and I'm curious to see where North America is going to go with it.
Yeah, I think curiosity is definitely the question for me. Will we see very tight games? We saw 2-0s that looked like they could have been, 2-2s going into Game 3 or Game 5 in a best-of-5 series at that point, because it was really hard to separate these squads. But I'm excited to take a look at the maps and the schedule as well for the North America PGS today, because we'll get to see just who is going to face off against one another. And it's Hysoflorex versus Big Egos today. Buh versus Ferocity.
And all of these
That's
teams
how you gotta
last
say
week, I think, came through. Buzz, the one I remember the most, just because we got to say their name so many times.
Ugh.
But Big Ego and Hysoflorex, I remember standing out to me. Big Ego is one of the ones that I remember we had throughout the entire time, obviously making jokes about whether or not they have their egos or not. But they played relatively well. I'm curious to see how these two are going to do against each other.
Actually, pretty humble guys, when you really think about it. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at the maps here as we see what will go down with Big Egos and Hysoflorex. I do like Hysoflorex's logo, though. That samurai is always cool to see. Bright Marsh will be map 1. Banned out, it's Frozen Guard. Jaguar Falls. Jaguar Falls is a very interesting ban.
Not one that you see as often banned out, but I feel like that's one of the things when you know you're playing a best of 3, you're not going to ban, okay, I'm going to ban Frozen Guard and Timbermill. No, okay, no one's going to choose those in a best of 3 most of the time. So instead, let's choose one that we know is a little weaker for us, or maybe that we aren't as sure of ourselves on. Go to Bright Marsh, Frog Isle, some of those other maps that we are confident with.
Yeah, I mean, no one, what they're going to bring to the table. Barrack here with a first pick, and Torvald went through. This, to me, is a little odd. It's a little odd.
Yeah, being not only able to go through, but immediately coupled with Androxus. That's one of those moments where if you see Torvald, you can try to take away the things he's going to enable, which is pretty difficult considering there's a lot. I mean, Androxus is the main one right now, but Talus fits in there as well since we got to see him in the PPL yesterday. But if you saw the Androxus, no Torvald, then you start formulating how do we counter this. Now you do have to kind of think about it, but you don't have any Leon, you don't have anything that's going to be very specifically screaming Wrecker to me.
I think that they're just clearly going for a triple DPS. If I'm wrong, I don't know what they're doing. I think the Barrack, that's the only thing I can think of taking Barrack over Inara, or even Terminus at this point. They feel like they're just going to go for a triple DPS damage augmentation comp. And Ruckus is going to fill that role as that tertiary damage dealer. It's a little bit flankier, has a little bit more mobility. And so if I'm Big Egos, I'm spotting that a mile away. And that's why they go for maybe the Willow, who has some high ground, the Androxus, maybe to take him away because he would have been a big threat as well. Maybe they would have gone with him if the Ruckus was a choice between Ruckus or Androxus or Ruckus or Willow. Also surprised that Drogos isn't taken. I mean, if you're going this route, who would have used 25% extra bonus damage? I mean, Drogos, he would have been okay. He would have been okay with that.
Perfectly fine, comfortable. I feel like that's one of those things with Bomb King being banned out. Maybe you just glance over the dragon. Maybe you're not thinking about him at the time you're going for this kind of composition, and you're thinking about the point fight that is going to be Barrack, having to deal with him on the objective. And so you throw the Willow out there. I think it's going to work out well. I am really interested in seeing what Hysoflorex are planning on doing, because theirs seems more kind of all in. Hopefully this will work for us, as opposed to, you know what, this is something that it's tried and true. We've got 2 front lines. We've got the Androxus, who's going to get augmented by this bubble.
Right.
On the one side, you're safe. On the other side, you're kind of,
I mean, they're taking risks.
Yourself.
Let me tell you what, they're taking risks. They're trying to, obviously, I mean, you can look at this squad of Edgem, of T-Mac, of Watkins, Niju, Quick. I mean, Niju, he was being able to play in 2 lands over this summer. And a very, very good Bomb King player. Edgem was in the conversation of maybe where Flame FX is, as far as maybe being a sub for G2 here during this absence for iDrop bodies. And Ozone is here going Exaction Cassie off of this very interesting first pick. I think that they realize there's a lot of talent on this team. It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. They're going to have to all perform really well, and they want to maybe catch them off guard with the draft.
I will say a lot of big names on the side of Hysoflorex, so they do have a lot of opportunity built for them. But again, Tyra is the one. I have to see her work before I can actually put all of that weight behind her. She gets picked up a lot these last couple days, and it looks like good, and on paper the theory is perfect. The question is whether or not they can actually make it work out for him and convert this poke into kills.
That was one hell of a snap, and Niju takes down Stigma after that. Ozone falling to Edgem here. ASTF Master in the dead zone, so kind of just fighting finding a losing battle, so to speak, and Edgem and the rest of Big Ego's definitely in control. Most Androxes we haven't seen kind of implement any new cards into their loadouts, because why do you need new things when you have Androxus doing that? Abyssal Touch, this is it, though. This is the card that we were talking about. He's going to get full resets on the dashes if he is able to just punch somebody. Full resets.
And that sets him up perfectly. I mean, being able to use through the warp. You get in, you get out. If you get that reset, if you dive maybe a little bit too deep, you're a little bit worried, you immediately get right back to your team. Especially on a map like Bright Marsh, there's not a lot of ground you really need to cover. So having that range increase and then movement speed on top of it, plus a bubble, Androxus is going to more than likely not die too often. Like, Hysoflorex will need to commit everything onto him at once. They need to coordinate this if they want to get rid of him.
Coordination is definitely, you know, where teams falter with this. But right now, you can't coordinate headshots. You know, you can't coordinate against that. Edgem is hitting so many headshots. It's very, very difficult. And we could take a look at this Tyra. Maybe not, you know, now at this point, but towards the point fight again, that's where they're really going to try to have this Tyra show up for them. We've seen her succeed a little bit, but it wasn't on Bright Marsh. We saw her actually have a horrible game in EU on Bright Marsh yesterday, and on Serpent Beach, but we have seen her succeed on Jaguar Falls, which is one of the only maps banned out in this set. So still waiting for sure to see that ultimate value, and it might just get better with time for her.
It's really, she's always going to be my big question mark as one of those, when you pick her up, and I think you said this yesterday, when you pick her up, it's one of those picks where it's just like, I either have to go all in or I am all done. Like, there is no real in-between. There's no middle ground where Tyra's just like, you know what, I did all right. It's either you are killing everybody, getting quadra kills like it's nothing, or you are just getting wiped every single time you show your face.
It's some weird, I mean, you know, it's just an interesting spot. I feel like Sigma is just very close to getting absolutely blown up in an instant, and I don't know if he knows it or not. Because he's just kind of walking, he's staying in the line of sight of everybody, and it might just be working. Comms may be just telling a different story, but man, this Tyra is so worried, and that's what it's just absolutely dead. And I was like, it just feels like this confidence for absolutely no reason. For no reason. You're in a very dangerous position. Niju finds a quadra kill, and that just shows it. He's going to ult at the end of the round. I mean, he knows overtime will be ticked away. They'll probably be able to touch this, and the ult just to secure that they maintain the pressure. This was a little preemptive, but I mean, I guess it's working.
I mean, just look at it. No one was looking at him. It's a lot of free poke, a lot of focus either pushing people back into the base or making the healer focus on them. Now the Dome Shield's going to get thrown out. They're actually using a lot of ults on Hysoflorex trying to hold this back.
He needs a kill. If he gets a kill, he can kill the whole lobby. He just needs the resets. He found it. Dead zone again. Can't get the damage off. That was so close. And you know what, Niju had the right idea, but he just couldn't pull it off. Those early 4 seconds where no one was out in the base, that really hurt him. And he just could not find enough damage. Great Dome Shield, however, by the Barrack to save that round.
I'd say if he had held his ult for like 5 more seconds. It's that awkward area, right, where it's just like, man, the round, like, you pop your ult at 3 seconds before the round ends, knowing that you're going to have overtime. But at the same time, your ult would have been better if it was popped in that overtime, but you don't want to use it in overtime because then you don't have it for the next round. Like, it's just this weird mental game you have to play with it. He's also going with a very interesting build using his economy. I mean, all those kills plus the point capture going to award him quite a few credits, but he's kind of spread the love instead of focusing on any individual item.
Yeah, and he's, you know, it's not bad to do that because especially when you're a Willow and you have a lot of these base resources that you'd like to invest in, like Wrecker and Cauterize already online. Sigma finding a nice kill on Niju there, but potentially going down, and he will. But Gwynnekins finds Quick very quickly, one might say, and that Inflame, that's always going to do the job.
Unfortunately, Hysoflorex use a big ult that will essentially a team fight changing ult.
Right.
They use it at the very beginning of the round, but there's no comeback mechanic, so they're only hitting 50% right now. They need to turn this into a good defense. And unfortunately, you get stuff like that. ASDF Master, normally on Ruckus, I'd say like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That's a like double kill for him.
Yeah.
Right now, not so much.
I mean, they know they don't have the Dome Shield, right? So here's the problem. Niju's back here into the ultimate. It's the Inara versus the Barrack because they've killed the Ruckus, and this is a problem for the back line. And you see it right there. He doesn't get the sealing off, which would have been really good pressure, but now Big Egos are certainly in control, to say the least.
And being able to step up like this, again, you're looking at 2 tanks, and Anara actually being the one who's getting a little bit more aggressive, because at this point in time, Torvald's just kind of the bubble machine for the Androxus.
Right.
Keep him alive, keep Niju alive, make sure that they're set, and otherwise stand on the point. You don't really have too much else you need to worry about. He can get some decent damage from far, but this is going to be a good stun, and with Androxus right there, they're going to be able to set up some kills.
Yeah, I mean, there's no front line. Oh my goodness gracious. ASDF Master, you sneaky devil. He sneaks into the backside, and everyone thinks, oh, we got this. No one's on the point, and he captures the objective. Wow. Well, that just made things a little bit... I was going to say more interesting, but I don't think so. I think it's a little bit more boring.
Now we get 2 minutes, potentially, to just see Big Egos hold on to the center
The
point.
way that round was going, yes, that's what we would expect to happen, but maybe this will be Isoflorix getting that need. You know, they're not too far away, and Ozone just needs a little bit more time for this Exaction Cassie to work off. He's got to work in the Chronoses with the items. Has he gotten Chronos 2 yet? That's the question. Now that he's got that extra 300 credits, I mean, that's a big deal. When you're running Exaction Cassie, getting that into the mid game and late game, you start to become much more of a threat.
And now ults are going to be coming online as well for Isoflorix. So not only is the economy going to kind of stabilize in favor because of that capture point, but also the ult economy is going to be huge for them. They also did just use another Inflame. And so with the way things are going, you're getting a little bit of push every now and then. That's all you really need against Big Egos.
Wow.
If you can just continually, gradually push them back, eventually you get somewhere with it. The big question is, in this next minute, are you going to be able to get 75% of this push done?
And Edgem, you know, we haven't followed along with him since we looked at his loadout very often and since that beginning round. But, you know, we're not seeing this Abyssal Touch come into play. It's getting a lot of movement speed, and that is because of the Torvald Wind Dancer. I mean, Androxus Torvald, this is something that we've seen earlier, that kind of damage amp competition between Field Study and, of course, the Astral Mark Luminary. That was first coming into play. And seeing a lot of stuff here from Na'Vi in Europe and, I believe, the end of Season 1, Season 2 Paladins. But now ASDF Master is just patiently playing it. And you know what? I don't mind having it Gore in the loadout and not necessarily using it until you need to.
And it's one of those things, especially on this map, it's that security, I think, more than anything. When you do have Abyssal Touch, you're not really looking at, I'm just going to go in and punch everybody just because I have this card. You're looking at, if I'm in a scenario where I get caught out, my dashes are down, and I don't get that bubble,
Right.
I need to get out of here. And if I can reset my dash by just punching one guy with this like extra mobility on top of it, so I'm going further with each dash as well in my loadout, I know I can get out safely. So it's a little bit of security that you have for it.
Well, I mean, this is what we expected, right? There was really no momentum. There wasn't a lot of push. I mean, that point was, if anything, absolutely going the way of Big Egos, and none of them die for a very long time. They defend successfully, but they don't keep that net worth snowball that they had ready to go.
Were all 3 of those for that triple kill and punch ending? I think the first one was a headshot, and then it was punch, punch.
Punch, punch, punch. Punchy Andro, as Nick so coined. You know what? I'm not... yeah, I mean, that's going to happen. That is going to happen now. You know, past patch, I would have been very, very excited about that. But the range is so far.
It's still fun to see, I think.
It is.
I think it's only because the fist doesn't accurately represent the range. Like, you just see his fist come out, and like you just know he's punching the air so hard that it is breaking like your lungs.
It is breaking
essentially.
your lungs.
But with the way things are going
that's
for
how they die. They just takes the oxygen away.
He punches it, it creates a little void.
Wow.
You then can't breathe for a second.
Yeah. Niju here has had a lot of control. He goes, he knows exactly where everyone isn't, which then helps him to know where everyone is. And this time doesn't die to Stigma midair, so he's going to stay alive. And he just plays a little bit more defensively. A Hyper Beam! It's going to knock 3 towards the ledge, but Ozone TV already finds a few kills. We talked about this Exaction Cassie getting going, and this is exactly what he was hoping for. Niju's still the only one alive. The dead zone not going to make him feel great about it. Misses the first shot, misses the disengage, has to get out. But luckily the cooldown is available.
Kind of stuck in this area where you don't want to get too aggressive. Same thing for Stigma. You're trying to get into this position where you can find that good damage, but unfortunately you can't stay there for long without taking too much. Edgem going down there, Niju going down right there makes a big difference. Quick will not live under the scrutiny of this damage, and both of these front lines need to be worried about this Tyra.
Ooh, and they still have the Inflame. Can Watkins make it out alive? I don't think so. Isoflorix, like we thought, despite round 2 being that way, have come back with the momentum as a result of that ninja by ASDF Master. And now we're poised to win this game. And that's 2 points in a row.
I'd say there's a big thing for me coming into the fact that Niju has gone very hyper-focused into the Wrecker. He's got Wrecker 3 online right now, which is great when you're trying to fight the Ruckus, when you're trying to pop any bubbles that might be coming down from Furia shields. But those are like the only targets he's really going to be looking at. He hasn't been able to get as many early game kills that we saw, or early round kills that we saw early on in this game. And so now it's kind of up to him. I'm looking at him as the will you hit them just as hard as you are like right now?
Yeah.
Or are you just faltering? Are you having to fall back? The minute he falls back, that opens up so much room for Isoflorax.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that his flank is being spotted out. Go left side. I think you don't need to go right side there. You push him into the corner. Maybe that's the team call. Go up over the right marsh roof. Go left, and you know that's where they're trying to stay and stabilize and fight from the point. At least you know Furia usually goes there, and I think that's what he was missing. He did not play very aggressively, and this team is kind of banking on his aggressive play, Gormizer, to be able to then snowball off of the pressure that he has applied.
Unfortunately, going to get caught out. Stigma credit for the kill right there. I feel like Niju also, there was a point he could have continued chasing a kill. I've never seen this happen, but it's that awkward moment when you're still in Fae flight, and all it takes is just a small little tap of your spacebar, essentially, to bump your head on the entrance to the door instead of going on in. And because they weren't able to get that kill, because he hasn't been able to just keep rolling with this snowball loadout, everyone's dying left and right. This could be the end.
This might be it. Toa falls down. ASDF Master finds Quick. Oh, but they're not pushing. Oh, they're not pushing right now. They must have. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't push those 30s. That was 10 seconds of not pushing? What happened? I don't know. I think that extra room might have made a bit of a difference, but they might have been trying to keep the payload in line of sight so they could fight and have a defense to where it was a little bit safer. But I thought game might have been over there. But for some reason, somehow it's quelled. And maybe just putting the brakes on when they should have hit full go.
The objective giveth and the objective taketh away. All you need is one team either not paying attention to it or one team maybe being a little bit too cautious with it.
I don't know.
And that gives enough room over. Big Egos seem pretty comfortable at this point. ASDF Master is in the area, though, so overtime's still going to tick through. But a couple of burst shots, and he's gone.
You might be able to just sum it up to miscommunication. I mean, Toa is in the corner. Oh, man, that's a risky dome shield. I don't think you lose 2, and then you dome shield, and you know that next round is coming up, and that's game. Ay, that was a rough one. I don't think this is going to go anywhere until final round. And you got to see a lot of mistakes, and they've been on both teams. Big Egos and Isoflorax making some questionable decisions that could end up determining this game. And at this, it's even, right? I mean, basically, you both made mistakes, and now it's just who captures this point and can be flawless.
He got all punch kills. He got some shots between the punches, but all those kills were punches for his triple kill.
Yeah, this is one that you're going to look back and you say, you know, here's those little moments where I can be impressive. And talk about impressive. Niju on a 21-6-19. I mean, that's incredible. That's 40-6 in terms of his eliminations, contributing to that KDA overall. And you know, Ozone doing well with Exaction Cassie. It's a different playstyle we haven't seen come back in a while. I don't know if we can take a look at the items really quickly, see if he's built. He hasn't even gone Chronos.
No, he's gone for Nimble instead.
He's gone so hard for Wrecker and Rejuve. He doesn't have the credits. He's won 2 points. I'm surprised, but look at this. No one's surprised about that. Ginnigan's going up into the air, but he comes down very quickly. That Mary Poppins impression did not end the way that he hoped for. He did not sail off into the sunset. And Quick, although he finds a couple of kills, Watkins going to find the last one. That's a full wipe from Big Egos.
Now, I'm going to be 100%. I've seen teams drop 4 ults, 5 ults onto various fights across the board. I've never seen 4 ults channeled into a single corner like that. And just everyone,
rough.
like, there was no way to live through that on Isoflorax. I'm kind of wondering, was all of that used so early that maybe you can capitalize on it? I mean, that's 84% right now. You haven't been able to touch down. You need to be able to get back in there 3-3.
Yeah. Can you touch? Can you touch? Get there. All right, he rolls in. Let's see if something can happen here. ACF Masters made the play before. Toa gets alive. Full heal there. Quick is going down. They've got a 100's mark onto the Inara, but they've got to touch the point. Nice stun there from T-Mac as well. Niju is still alive, but he's fighting on the bridge, and this isolation from the wall is enough. It does appear for Fury to have to force herself in there, and Quick, he is falling, but is this the turnaround they needed? T-Mac is so low, but it's Edgem who comes to the rescue. A dash here, a dash there, a punch into the midair, and Big Egos with a little Torball 2-step. Take game 1. A blunder of of a game. But it was a game of inches that ended up determining who took that set. And, I mean, obviously still another game to play before it's fully wiped away, but you got to see the momentum losing that game after it was so close and so many mistakes. That's got to hurt your morale going into game 2.
And it's just those missteps, too, right? When it comes to, like, how do you wipe those off if you come into it and you say, you know what, if we hadn't done X, Y, or Z, we could have won that at the end of round 3. Or if we had done B during round 2, this would have given us that advantage. Like, hey, if we're big egos and we were standing on the point instead of 3 people around the point, that ASDF capture never comes through. So him being able to get in there, at least get that payload, that put a big pause, I think, on big egos and kind of created this speed bump in the middle of the map that I don't think they were prepared for. I don't think I was prepared for.
Yeah.
And so knowing that coming into this next map, do you still have that kind of play potential in you?
Yeah, and I think ASDF Master maybe it's just sucking the momentum out of a game, and it's in soccer you look at it as some team is going and you just make a hard foul. You know, you get a yellow card maybe. Hopefully it's not a red. Make a hard foul. You send a message. You stop this little possession they've got going on, and you reset. And I think that's one of the ways where you can see what ASDF Master did, and it ended up working, but it wasn't enough. Big Eagles take that one and if you're looking at the score lines or the KDAs, you would assume that's what would have happened. It was a tough battle, though, and that's what Isoflorex have been doing. They've just been battling so hard. These sets in North America have been so interesting because they are very close, yet it tends to be a 2-0, right? But they are, every game, every inch is fought for. I wonder if we will go to a game 3 here or if this will be the last one.
There's a lot I think that Isoflorex did well. I'm kind of curious if they change up their draft at all. So far, 3 frontlines banned out, so I mean, it was weird to me to see them go towards, like, the ruckus towards the end of it. Like, he fit perfectly. Their draft worked well, but again, it felt like a very old meta style where it just wouldn't be able to hold up with what Big Ego brought to the table.
Well, you know, to me, when you do look at it from the beginning, and every kind of story has its butterfly effect, where you look at that one decision that affected that next decision, they did have an idea of what they wanted to do. I mean, the first pick Barrack, obviously ignoring the Inara on a map like Bright Marsh, even not even opting for a Terminus, which is, you know, we're seeing some players say he's in, some players say he's out, but going straight for the Barrack and opting away from a Drogos as well. Those are 2 interesting decisions that may have resulted in Isoflorex having an uphill battle versus what Big Egos were putting together. Right now, the Bomb King and Jox's Fury, Big Ego's not even worried about a front line, and it's because all the good ones are pretty much banned, so you're taking what's left no matter what, because they took Inara first pick.
You still have, I mean, I guess Ashe Terminus if you want to be able to lock down the last 2. But honestly,
it's, you know,
I don't know. I don't know if you go for the Ashe at all, just because I feel like she's been having very lackluster performances.
Penta damage. Quadra damage.
Just completely, well, I guess, Fury counts as damage, let's be honest. Being able to come through, have all of that healing and the damage, you'd be pretty comfortably set.
Yeah, right. Please. I'll take him. Go ahead. Wait, it's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday.
He's available today.
He's actually...
Well, I'll be damned. Let's get some Koga. How come you didn't pick him last game, though?
Okay. Not banned, not looked at by
triple
anybody.
DPS, you don't pick Koga? Why
that
not?
seems like one of those things, like you're in the middle of picks and bans, and then you look at it and you're like, wait a minute.
The hell is going on in North America?
He opened now? And they say, yeah, now
Isoflorex is finding out for the first time.
Like, there's going to be a pause in the beginning of the game that's going to be like...
Hey, can he do that? He can do that?
A pause at the beginning.
John, you were supposed to... You have one job.
And it's going to be them asking, are you sure that that's allowed? They got the Koga. I'm actually interested
Whoever
to see
is
how
the
this
coach
goes.
for Isoflorex is getting just a slapping right now. You had one job. Let us know when Koga released. That's it. You couldn't even do that. No, I'm joking. This is sick, though. I can't wait.
I'm curious to see how he's going to get run, because I think we were talking about it yesterday. We've been talking about it pretty much since we, I guess, kind of accidentally got to get a sneak peek during console as to how he's going to be run. There's a lot of little paths he can take, little things that will make it a little bit more specific towards the player, I think. That'll make it more interesting to see, but Master of Arms is pretty much no surprise to me. I think every single highlight reel I've had against me with a Koga winning the game is Master of Arms, Koga firing for like 6 seconds straight.
What are we looking at the other talents for? Can we look at Koga's talent and then his loadout? It is Master of Arms, correct?
Yes. It was right before he, unless he changed
So
it.
this is something that I've actually seen Evil Eye doing a little bit. Trigger Happy is going to be a staple. Where I don't like is there's no something to prove. I think that's a very important card. It gives you an extra bar when you are in trouble. And I think that is important. Getting that just extra bar, that reset, that extra dash, once you've committed, you can get out. Wind's Embrace, though, he's going to be using the agility because he's not using his dashes as much, not applying the healing to himself through dashes. He is going to just be constantly getting the movement speed as well as the healing over time and just trying to fire away. This healing does increase as you are using your submachine guns to Trigger Happy, as well as applying to Life Rip, as well as applying to other healing sources. So this is going to hopefully keep Edgem nice and healthy. But boy, oh boy, this is not working out, is it? Hysoflorix just say, what Koga? We didn't even see him all match.
Yeah, by the time he finally shows his head, honestly, he just gets two-shot and pushed away. There seems to be no issue dealing with not only him, but the rest of it. And it's one of those things when he's available again and when you watch him, look at the number for his ammo, because that's going to be where it's very important to watch his hits as well as whether or not he's actually connecting, as well as the items he goes. Sometimes if you have it, I mean, this is not going to be a very good example, but you are looking at teams like maybe Heavy Shield. If there's Torvald on the other side, Wrecker starts to become something that you could put into your equation, stuff like that. But as of right now...
Wrecker does work for Master of Arms. It will not tick your bullets down. If you're applying your hits to a shield, it will not scale, but it will obviously... well, I mean, it'll scale if you have Wrecker, but...
But it still counts as a hit.
Yep.
So you don't use the ammo, so you could shred a shield without having to worry about it. Unfortunately, that would only really work well against Ruckus, which isn't, I guess, the worst thing in the world.
It works against Inara's wall.
True.
Yeah.
If you want to go for Bulldozer.
The problem is this. This is the problem. Something to prove. He would have had another bar here. When you're using agility, I just don't find agility to be that valuable for Koga. I find his dashes to be much more impactful. And you're seeing issues here because the dash gets you out of that. Agility makes you run a little faster before you die. And that, to me, is why after looking at it, I believe that we will see Koga settle into something to prove with an extra dash. I think we will see Trigger Happy. I think we will see less harsh training overall. I think we will see less of that, despite it being a pretty good card and something he's trying now. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see Adrenaline Junkie prioritize more so than Master of Arms when it's all said and done. But for now, I think both are still viable.
I think it's that interesting growing period where at this point, no matter where you practice, even in scrims, Koga is going to be in that spot of can he actually run XYZ as a talent, just being able to work in an actual competitive environment. This is Hysoflorix trying their best. They get a really good composition to deal with it. Can you still make this Koga work, or is it all going to fall through? As of right now, it's good defense.
Right.
But so far, I haven't seen him personally have a huge impact.
Well, the thing is, with we're spending a lot of time because when else are we? Hysoflorix doing a good job pushing. Will it be enough? As we kind of wait this round out in the overtime, we'll talk a little bit more about Koga in the interim here. He does have his ultimate, and so that will be interesting if Koga is able to go into that because he does quite a bit of damage. He becomes completely immune during the time, but is very vulnerable right afterwards. There is a brief moment, very much like a Terminus Reanimate, where he is just vulnerable, cannot move, cannot take any action, but can take damage himself. May just be better for them to just let this go. Big Ego's drop down. There's the Koga ultimate. He's trying to find a kill. Needs you. Finds ASDF Master off of that. Edgem's going to dash away as well. So the Shadow Step will just buy some time, and now Niju has opened up the door, finds the O-Zone, and he will send him back. And that is a 1-1 defense for Miser heading into round 2.
And this is something we had mentioned during the last game, and I think is always going to bear worth mentioning. Niju, Bomb King, hand in hand, they are something that is phenomenal to be able to see. 6-2 and 4 as of right now, 45k, almost 46k damage, and he is sitting 12k, almost 14k above the next player. So it's just in this good area of, even if you're trying something new, even if you're fleshing out, if Edgem doesn't have the same performance this game as he did last game, you can rely on Niju because he's feeling a lot more comfortable on a champion he knows incredibly well.
And that's what's so good about Koga. He's just a distractor. He does buy you time, but not this style. This style is less about distracting. It's more about just sustaining. And that is where Koga's I think one of his weaknesses is his lack of health. He starts out with 1900 health. He is one of the lower health champions in the game outside of Eevee. And so you have to really be concerned about his ability to survive, even if you're healing constantly. He's obviously augmented that with a couple of health cards as well. But Edgem has to play this carefully, and he's going to try and just find the Sonara. He's got The ability with Trigger Happy to continue going, being healed, as well as Master of Arms, meaning the bullets don't run out, and that's enough for Niju to find ASDF Master. This could be where we see Koga start to shine.
Now all he has to do is find a good target, be able to stick. Ozone's going to be his #1 to go towards, but this is that awkward range as well, where it's just, I'm not going to be hitting anywhere near as hard as I could. 26 damage on a headshot.
Yeah.
He has to hit quite a few of them to actually make an impact. But like you said, he's kind of distracting. He's pulling a lot of attention towards himself because you hear all those bullets. You're getting chunked even though you don't really recognize how fast it's going down. And so you're looking, where's the Cathedral? Like, why is he up there? What can we do about it? And the entire time, Big Egos just take the point.
Yeah, and I like it. He's just focusing on the ruckus. He knows he's getting healed, so he's not really worried about it, and that's what is going to be the support tactic. Now, the way that he's getting babysat by the Furia, it's a double-edged sword, because that means some of that healing is not necessarily going to the front line, but it's worked out for Big Egos here. And is why I'm so curious to see if the Genos, although out of the meta kind of, a couple other people prioritize, he will come back with Koga. If the Astral Mark, I mean, that's exactly how you make Trigger Happy work. He's always got that healing, and then he's got the damage amp. I feel like that's what you really want to pair with Master of Arms. Good dash. And now you go into the ultimate. No, couldn't quite get it, but almost made the nice play.
I'm really happy to hear you mention the Genos, because that's the exact same thing I was thinking for a second. I was like, this would be much better if it wasn't just while you're firing, if Furia happens to hit right-click.
Yeah.
You're going to get that burst heal. If you had something that was healing you over time, something like a Maldamba Spray or the Genos just being able to tap onto you, and that one's even better because you hit through walls as well. Right. So you're getting that bonus damage, and it feels like he'd be much more impactful. But again, you got to try it out at some point, and this is just going to be, I think, a test run to potentially see what can go right and wrong with him. Furia is very difficult to not pick up in certain scenarios. So
yeah, I'm
curious as to how that's going to go in the future.
I think that's what they said. And it's also a comfort thing. You really don't understand from the outside perspective how much it is just, I would rather play this, and I am the support player, right? You think that, oh, man, it's just all about strats. It's like, who do you want, T-Mac? And he's like, I want Furia. Like, even though I want Furia this game because I got tournaments, I'd rather deal with that on this map as well. I feel like it's a little bit better. And that's just his choice. And now Koga's, Edgem's like, all right, well, I got to work with what I get to work with. But I think if they try this with a little bit of Astral Mark Genos, that's where he'd get the most value out of his loadout, especially with Trigger Happy 5 and Harsh Training. He'd be getting so much healing, man.
And the one thing that Edgem's been able to showcase that I think works well is the wall climb, which is something I feel like it's not going to be as effective on certain maps, right? Bright Marsh, you don't really need to go up the walls as much as you do on something like maybe Stone Keep. But I'm excited to see where he's going to take a role because Xin, is notably one that gets played on Splitstone Quarry a lot.
Yeah.
And gets kind of, not necessarily dunked on, but he does not have anywhere near the same performance there because his lack of vertical mobility. He has to use his ult if he wants to get up onto a ledge. I'm wondering if Koga might start filling that same role that Xin kind of did if played properly. Of course, we have to go to Splitstone Quarry to ever actually find that out, and a lot of teams do tend to avoid it.
Let's see if this ends up working for them, though. Stigma on the Leon, finding very good damage on that presence consistently, finishing off Watkins, but now it just feels like there's a lot. There's a lot happening here, and especially with the Androxus, you have the vertical danger. Watkins slowing down will get picked off. That's the question. There is no reanimate coming through. Quick is escorting this payload. Someone's got to drop down, and let's just daylight the dollar short. Ozone tries, but it's not enough. Isoflorix just so close. It's 3-1. Big Egos now at match point.
Being able to turn it around, that first round didn't work the way they wanted to, and I feel like it was a lot of how do we approach this, where do we go? And you could see Isoflorix, they were playing very patiently, very calmly, and the minute Koga showed his head, they were like, all right, let's just kill him off, not worry about him, and then turn our attention over to the Bomb King, to the Androxus, like you had said, that are the bigger threats. But that second round, you could see that Edgem was taking a little bit more caution as to how he was going to approach the fight. He wasn't running off on his own.
Yes.
And because of that, Niju, Watkins, as well as Quake and T-Mac could adjust their positioning to better fit what he needed to do to make it so that point was a lot easier. They kind of zoned everyone in Isoflorix into the perfect spots for them to take them down.
I'd really love to continue to see this today. I hope we do. I know this is the first of 2 matchups. So hopefully we'll be able to see this either in this set if it continues or just more. And this is, I think, where you get your max value, right? When you're fighting against the front line and you just never stop. You just never stop firing. You just never give up. You never stop gaming. You never stop ulting. Ruckus goes down. Here's at half a second where he's in danger, and that is something that Ozone could take advantage of, but he's not in the right spot. And he's not using his dashes at all, and that to me is just, that's where you live with Koga. I love the Harsh Training, though. A great style, and he is going to be a champion where you see players have their style, their choice, their opinion, and it manifests still with Koga being viable.
And that's what I like, is like he's kind of a tree, right? Where whichever talent you choose is going to be, I guess actually even more a field of trees with the way things go, because he has so much of customization built into him. As of right now, he finally goes down, but admittedly, it might be too late. That's 99% for big egos as they just hold control, and with the rest of them still alive, they're looking comfy.
Yeah, Terminus reanimate. I mean, all that time we were looking at Koga, everyone else had to as well. And guess what? Niju's there saying, man, Edgem, I love it. Just taking some eyes off of me. Koga being difficult, looking like he's going low. Ruckus getting jebaited out there, right? Nice kill from Ozone, but is it too late? It does seem like it is, and Koga's going to throw the claws out. The first time he's used them all game.
Finally clicked at the end. It's just one of those things. I mean, he gets the bullets out. They start coming. They don't stop coming. And they just keep rolling.
And they don't stop coming.
And they don't stop coming. And they don't stop coming. I was holding on to that.
I feel like that's the second All-Star. I feel like it's the second Smash Mouth reference you've made.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because I already started singing Smash Mouth with you for some other thing that you said. Be thinking about what you're saying, man, because you're just going to throw us into these
I just
old
get the
hits.
music going.
Yeah, you do. You do. Well, that was a very interesting kind of first set. I mean, wild and very fun to watch. And again, that's North America for me. It's just super fun to watch, really competitive, and it is big egos who take that one. So let's take a look at the schedule. It is going to be Buh versus Ferocity. It is Wednesday, my dudes. So does that mean that we're going to see more Koga? Well, we haven't seen it. And maybe it's because Kenga and those boys in OCE maybe just played it at a different time. Maybe it's a different time zone, different, I don't know. I feel like they're ahead, different rules.
Australia.
Different rules they have.
Sorry, you're upside down. You can't play Koga
They
yet.
have Vegemite over there, I don't know.
He can only run down the wall instead of up the wall.
Yeah, maybe.
It's
exactly.
terrible. It's very difficult to play.
Yes.
He holds his SMGs upside down and points them backwards.
Hey, that would be sick, man. You kidding me? That's some Matrix level stuff. I'd be all about it. All right, we got Stone Keep here. Bub banning out the Splitstone Quarry. Ferocity, again, banning out the Jaguar Falls. So 2 Jaguar Falls bans in 2 North America sets. A little interesting.
I'm wondering if it's because Drogo's prominence right now. And Torvald, it's just one of those things that if you get them together on that map, it can be a very deadly combination. And instead of giving that opportunity of, we don't want to deal with picks and bans on this, we're just going to ban the map, go somewhere that we're a little bit more comfortable with. Torvald, all front lines. It's pretty much the same bans coming through. It's just front lines all around.
All right, well, a front line not picked up first. It's the Androxus. So Ferocity with the Cassie and the Inara to respond. This is where if you have an Androxus, you maybe start setting up for your triple DPS. Again, 4 front lines ban. This seems to be what we're seeing a lot in North America. The Fury, hard to pass up, though. And that's going to be the Ashe. Wow.
I'm going to be honest. Ashe has been... I love Ashe as a champion. I love playing as Ashe. I love using Ashe, but I just...
unimpressed.
She does not fit right now. She hasn't been playing that well. It's the same thing. I love Tyra, but Tyra hasn't been doing well. So for me, being able to like pick her up this early on, they already have a Nara. Like, why are you prioritizing? Like, maybe you're trying to hold off, not showcase we're going Drogos. This is what we're trying to pick up.
Okay.
But it just didn't feel like you needed her that early on, and I'm still curious as to whether or not they're going to want to push for her.
Wow. Okay. So this is really cool. I mean, Ferocity have stayed, even though they see the final pick of the Terminus, and they know they're going up against 2 front lines, pretty tanky, as well as Furia. They're going to match. They're going to basically say, we're going to match you, not with presence on the Vanguard, but also just damage. That's how we're going to try to beat you. And you know what? Here's the thing. I mean, Genos has fallen out, right? Furia is the hotness, and, a beautiful girl walks in the room. Yeah, every guy's, going to turn their attention to that, and Genos going to be like, come on, Doc, what's up? What's up, man? I'm still here. I'm a person. But I think it only takes you losing a couple of Luminary Genos battles in a 1v1.
Yeah.
Where he's pocketed by Genos and he's got Luminary on him. You're like, dude, screw you. Okay? You only won that fight because you've got Luminary. And you're going to be like, we should pick it. And I think it's going to jump back up throughout the season. This is something that has started with a little bit lower of a value, I think, in terms of the stock market for Paladins talents. And I think will start to rise as we continue to see the reason why it was so good in the first place. It didn't change. Only changed for Genos, and that's not why it was good.
Being able to boost your team, and again, while you're looking at cards of Koga from the last map, that is actually one of the best things. I think it's going to potentially bring attention back towards him. But as of right now, you're looking at the bubble and the heal coming through, and I think that's exactly what Buh are looking for, is something to just kind of keep them all topped off from a long range, being able to get that burst if things go wrong. Unfortunately, you do run into scenarios like that where you end up not hitting the right person.
Or it just didn't hit. There was a little bit of a Furia
True.
bug that would happen where you would do the animation and it just literally wouldn't heal. And that was an issue. I don't know if that's been completely fixed. I know the design has been aware of that and talked about it. Right now, though, look at this. I mean, El Zulu, so tanky. Jalen Sanity just loving him some Furia right now. Doppy getting pressure back out. Kresnik, a big fan. And you know what? This team, from Zulu and Splice, from Zulu before Splice, from Zulu after Splice, any team Zulu's on, you're going to see Ash picked, guaranteed.
Just something that's comfortable.
Even
And
if he's not
you
playing
have a
it,
team
yeah.
that knows how to use it well, I think you could have it. But I mean, I said the same thing really looking at Mouse Sports yesterday. That's a team that loves their Ashe,
Yeah.
but it just did not work out as well as it could when you're looking at some of the other front lines. You forego the Inara, you forego the Barrack,
Oh.
which I think might be able to play a little bit stronger. But as of right now, they're starting to get at least their legs under them to try and get this push back 75 to 75 on the point.
I love it. I love it. Kresnik goes in. Unfortunately, can't get back out, but I think he creates enough space. And you like to see it from a front line, just knowing when to use that shoulder bash. I got to tell you, it's a real moment of genius when you see an Ashe start out a fight, shoulder bash into the back line, and then you're like, well, what do you do from here? Oh, you die. Okay. All right, so we lost our front line there. Let's wait. And then they do it again. And you're like, did you not learn? Did you not learn?
And it's one of those things that
That's
maybe you learn, but you just can't do anything else.
It's like the biggest casual debate. Like, oh, I got this dope dash. And then you're just like, well, now what do I do? Now what do I do? Hey.
Maybe you can throw your shield in the right spot and your team's ready to go, because otherwise you are stranded, usually surrounded, and potentially dead
Yeah.
very, very soon.
Yeah, I throw my shield and then I start running away like back towards my team and my shield doesn't come with me and you're like, man, this is not working out the way I planned. I used my escape to get in. I used my shield and I left it where I wanted to leave from. This is not good. But of course, Kresnik not going to have those issues. He knows when to shoulder bash and he does it at the right time. And it allows Frosty to continue defending here and Bud to continue pushing. Nice through time and space. Oh, he's going to grab it. Va, nice kill on an Envy. Vega Wow on the Androxus, which is a little bit different. Haven't seen him on these flankers. More so on the supports is where we've seen him in his career in Paladins and PGS, but doing a decent job there.
Getting caught out, but does take the alignment. Unfortunately, because he got the kill, you can already see 68% there for Leon. Retains 50% whenever she hits that, and that 6 streak is just going to keep things rolling for them. So far, so good, but this payload still creeping forward casually as of right now. No one's really contesting it. And once it gets past this arch,
Yeah.
it gets a lot easier to try and push in towards the final fight. It's a lot more open, so
Right.
you're much more inherent to damage,
Yeah.
but you can at least fight back a lot better.
It just gives you so much better. Wait, what?
Hey guys,
All right.
there's an objective.
Yeah. I mean, that's like that guy who walks across the street, but he kind of moves his arms when he sees you, and he, like, moves his knees up, but he doesn't stop walking. He's, like, pretending to jog. It's like they all shot at him. They were like, hey, we're defending. But, you know, Zulu's like, wait, you're actually not. You're just still not on the point. All right, I'm just going to push this in. Okay.
I mean, that statue's pretty big. Sometimes it's hard to see around it. You never know if maybe they just didn't look.
I mean, I think they knew they weren't going to get there. Like, I don't think it was like, oh man, wait, nobody went. I think they knew they weren't going to push it, but it was just funny the way it ended up because they still kept shooting. I mean, at that point, sometimes you just let it go, or ultimate's still a charge, so it wasn't all in vain.
Yeah, it's still a little curious. I feel like even if you're going to let that point go through, even if you're planning on, let's play the comeback mechanic.
Yeah.
You at least put up a little bit more fight towards the end of the point, because otherwise, I mean, still playing with the numbers, I actually think that's incredibly smart. You want to try to force whatever you can. Like, maybe you can pop that reanimate. Maybe you can, just trick him. El Zulu is going to be very hard to get him to pull the trigger on it, but you never know. Maybe you can pull that out, and then you get another advantage at the beginning of the round.
Vega Wow doing a good job of trading out. Finds Poison, but Doppy trades with him as well. Envy now needs to find a kill on the Kerfluffle, who's on a 7 streak. This Leon has stayed alive and prioritized that. So is Va. Now Kresnik just holding down this corridor, and this is one thing that Ashe is very good at doing on this map. And I love the way that Kresnik is spacing these fights. He's not getting up into the nose of the enemy front line. He's staying at the mid to long range. That's where Ashe excels. Her weapon does the work for her from a distance, and El Zulu lets the reanimate do the work for him as well. And now they've turned their attention onto Kerfluffle, who has stayed alive, but avoided touching the point in these overtime situations.
I mean, comeback mechanic or not, it doesn't
Okay,
really matter
hello.
if once the reanimate comes through. I mean, no one was really focusing the point, and Nara was the only one standing around there, and that's going to be the biggest issue that you're going to see holes poked through with a 3 DPS build for your team is just who's going to take that place. Once she's gone, you chopped off the head of the lion, and the body just falls flat. Whether or not the claws are still there doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's a great analogy because, you know, what are claws if the whole beast can't move, right? You just step away, step to the side. You walk a few feet, and it's no longer a danger to you. And that is something we will see. We'll see players really prioritize staying alive. And sometimes it's also just this concept of there's nothing I would do by dying there that would change anything.
Yeah.
You know, and there's this world of thought where you say, okay, then don't go and stay alive. There's the other world of thought where you say, well, you never know unless you try. Because maybe you buy time for me to go and buy time for an ult that might kill 2 people that then might stabilize us because the next guy's able to be there. But you never get those chances, and it's fine. It's a little bit of a safer approach.
Finally, I think we're starting to see something. I know Doppy has been impacting this game, but I feel like so far everyone on Ferocity, it's been like slow impacts. Like maybe you get a kill here, maybe you get a kill there.
Oof.
Nothing very big, nothing flashy. I didn't even realize that King Bomb had gone off until I looked at the fact that he was at 50%. And it was just that moment of, I feel like you hear the sound cue, you're recognizing stuff like that, but it just never did anything. It didn't really change the pace of the game like it normally does. Now we're starting to see these kills come out for Ferocity. This is what we needed to see about 6 minutes ago in the game before things started getting out of hand. Now you're at 3-0. Even if you go 3-1, I don't know if you can feel confident around that point.
No, Ba has looked really, really good. And these guys, you know, we talk about their experience. We talk about ex-pro players from the Splice organization who have grinded their way up into that moment. Had moments where they've had to come back here and still play and are still grinding now, and it just shows the level of commitment. It shows also that they're not to be trifled with, that they've been around the world and back. They've seen some things, and at this point I don't know if they can unsee them, especially for Ferocity's hope here, because it looks like Ba is absolutely going to be going through this. It's not over yet. And Nara's going to try to seismic crash, and they do find Envy, but this is looking very, very hard to defend.
Kresnik going to be able to get the kill right there. Bagel Wow does go down, but Zulu's still alive, and honestly, as long as Zulu stays alive, that's all you need. He has reanimate, but honestly, at this point, overtime will tick down way too fast for him to use it. So if he goes down, I think that's it.
Dude, I don't know. I think he should. The best way to have, if he would have actually just died really fast, he would have won the game right there. Because you reanimate instantly right before that overtime would tick away. I think you would keep it alive, and you'd kill both of them. They'd have to either move, or you would kill them both. There's no way they stand. Front line's both dead. Or the front line is dead. Doppy had a pretty good round. Close, though, but definitely the safer choice from Ba.
10-4-2. And again, Doppy, I said, was
10-4!
not necessarily lackluster as much as it was that you haven't seen anything flashy coming out of him. You can see number 4 on the damage chart, so it's nothing really stand out, and that's the way Ferocity has just felt to me. It's like, I saw Kerfluffle getting some good shots. That's pretty much been the game for them. It's like, okay, yeah, you've done a couple of things here and there, but has just felt like they have their hands on the reins. They're controlling everything, where the game's going. Even when they're falling behind, it still feels like they're controlling the pace.
Well, Poison is trading out with Bagel, which is the problem, because the frontline battle is going to be won by Ba, unless Ferocity are able to snowball the advantage of the triple DPS, but they're trading their DPS, and that's not what they need. They need all 3 alive. They need one of the 3 to find a kill, and that's where they put the pressure onto the front line, especially against this Furia running Solar Blessing. Envy staying safe. Kresnik, best Ashe I've seen in the last couple of days. This is where you do it. This is where you fight. You don't get up in the nose. I see this all the time. And now, knowing that he's going to look to zone is when he commits. He doesn't have the ultimate yet, but the positioning, even when he gets aggressive, is still safe, making sure he has an out, using his range to his best benefit.
Setting up 63%, 3-1. And right now, with the control they have, this is all they need. A stun coming down. Bagel just kind of eats it to his face. But now he's in a position to actually come right around behind Doppy, who's getting aggressive. King Bomb going to drop down onto the point. But is it going to make a big difference? He does get 1 kill, sets it up for 2, but that's going to be reanimate.
Uh-oh. And that's what would happen on the point fight. El Zulu finds 1, and he just saves it. He kills him later on. He says, you know, I'm not going to kill you now and push the game in. I'm going to let my team get a couple more highlights, a couple more moments on cast, then I'm going to use my reanimate to take you down. That always bugs me, though, I will say.
That last...
Right when you're on it, you're like, dude, I'm on the point. You see it. There's visual evidence. I'm on the objective.
And it's that
Why?
second...
Why
right
they win?
Points down here, you're like half a second. That last tick comes through, then you plop. And then you're like, come on. Like, I'm in the circle. Like,
Come
come
on, man. I'm there. I got evidence. That's what always tilts me. If they didn't show me the evidence, I'd be like, okay, fine. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I
When
don't
it
know.
ends with you
I'm
standing
like,
on the point, you're like,
this is just this is wrong. This doesn't compute here. Let's take a look at maps for Game 2. It was all the way, and I wonder if they will continue to do so. North America, wow, pretty exciting day. First matchup, always interesting. High School Florix really put a good effort in, but cannot quite find the victory, and it is Frog Isle. Now where Ba will be able to potentially take down Ferocity. Big Eagles already with a win earlier this morning.
I'm wondering if we're going to continue so far. Okay, there we go. Finally, someone broke the streak. North America has been like all front lines all day.
That scares
It's
me.
Knesset Bomb King. But that means to me, I mean, this opens up the door for Ferocity to say, we're going to go Strix.
Yeah.
And to me, if they don't go Strix first, Buzz going to be like, okay, we're going to go Strix. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think that clearly Ferocity are happy to go Strix. Bud now has questions to make. We've seen a lot of the teams today actually have a plan out the gate for these maps, at least map 1. This is map 2, so somebody picked this. So you have to assume, unless they don't pick their first 2 and they pick, I believe they pick their first 2 and the third would be going to the loser of game 2, unless it just is, you know, loser's pick. But no, I think they pick first 2. So somebody picked this. Somebody has a strategy. It might be the Strix. We might be seeing Ferocity implementing it right now.
I'm kind of curious. It's always an unfortunate spot when, I mean, 2 of the front line that have been banned out this entire time. Fernando is one that I think could either deserve a ban depending on the team you're playing, but he can be let through occasionally.
Yeah.
Makoa is one of those ones that I feel the same way, but I feel like it's much less of a scenario to let him through.
Yep.
Now both of them are on one side. You get Cassie, you get Willow, you have anti-heal galore. I was trying to figure out the right phrase to use there.
Furia and Maldamba. So this is a lot. Now, Leon, I think, is the correct decision. Again, we see Drogo's not taking, but this more of a better reason because there is a sniper involved. You also have, I mean, one shot from Barrack throws that off because Furia's got hit scan that is nothing to be trifled with. So I do like the death and taxes Leon coming here to augment not only against the Inara because she's receiving Furia, but also Maldamba healing and just pressure onto the Strix from a little bit of a long range, lack of fall off kind of character. My only concern is that you're kind of betting on the anti-heal on a champion that, when played perfectly, cannot be anti-healed. Inara with Rejuve 3 and Earthen Guard just cannot be anti-healed.
Luckily, Dead Zone is the only big one to me is theirs. 100%.
Yeah.
Rejuvenate doesn't cut that down. Nothing you have cuts that down. So that's going to be 100% from the beginning to the end every single time that Dead Zone gets plopped down. So you have this window now that is kill Inara while this is up. Even with her damage reduction, you can still burn through her health.
Yeah, so it was a bad draft. Sorry about that, guys. So Jalen Sanity is, sorry to interrupt you, Gore, but Jalen Sanity is playing Maldamba on the side of and we do now see Doppy on the Cassie instead of the Damba. So it was our graphical error. Apologize for that, or it might have been something else administration-wise, but we are now able to see they are not playing without a healer.
And the other side isn't playing with too many healers.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I was thinking. Was like, man, they have Willow and you just went 2 supports. Are you playing the same game? Like, are you sure this is how you want to go about this?
Yeah, and it opens up that question, too. When you pick Willow for Nightshade, but then you have to use your Nightshade to kill people, it doesn't mean you can have it on the point all the time. So then do you go Blast Flower? And that's what we saw someone else do. I forget who it was, but someone actually did that earlier on. And we were like, he should have done this. And then we look back like halfway through the game and we're like, wait, he did do that.
we went on all this tirade. I remember that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, it was like he was ahead of the curve the entire time. He knew what was coming.
Well, first blood here goes to Bagel Wow, who is on the Atroxus game 1. Leon game 2 here. Primus trying to take down Envy, who's going to go down as well. After engaging in the fight, Kresnik now taking a bit of damage to the shield, but it's still Buff who have the control, and that was maybe just, again, a tactical sacrifice, so to speak, to just create the space and the opportunity for these front lines to play out of, and it has worked very, very well. Buff have not dropped a beat.
Being able to get a little bit more aggressive and also going for the half shell this time as opposed to Leviathan, something that we normally don't get to see. I don't think there's a lot of deviation usually in Makoa's talents. And unfortunately, that means we don't get to see Davy Jones lockers often.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ever actually going to be played competitively unless you know you're going to win that game.
Does
But
it give me CC immunity while I slide? I might think about it at that point.
it looks funny.
Hey, you got.
There's at least that. It's good for a montage if you can get like some knockoffs with it.
Oh, it's great for a montage.
But
I don't mind the fourth talent being the montage talent. I don't mind that.
montage talent, not the competitive talent. it's just
YouTube
the-
content
you'll have
creators
fun.
need love too, okay? It's not just the pros who need balance. Some of the montage creators need balance too. It's like, dude, how can I mean, we haven't had a wacky talent
Can we get
in a while.
a Strix talent that makes it so when you're like point blank with someone, your bullet doesn't seem to ricochet off their chest and fly off into some other direction? So you can get those no scopes. I want the no scope.
We need a no scope Strix talent that just does twice the amount of damage as a normal snipe if you no scope it. So like 2,400 damage and like a 3,000 damage headshot.
And then we'll finally have FaZe Clan.
And
That'll entice them.
And then we'll get some good content right there. That's all I'm talking about. President getting really low, but making it out just a bit. Pyrus goes into the Dome Shield. I think they've got to be happy about that. Gonna just relax, settle up. Envy still firing away, but they will pull back while Ferocity stabilizes there, although using a very crucial frontline ultimate from the Barrack to do so.
46 seconds left, and this is going to be probably one of the more difficult times to get back. Luckily, with two front lines, and both of them being able to put down a big shield for your team, that makes a huge difference. But if you keep eating shots like this before you even get there, it's not going to matter. Envy taken off by a beautiful headshot from Poison, and there's a reason this guy was in the PPL.
What if Strix had an ultimate? And you know, this is just, I'm a little bit in my high-res hours here in terms of morning casting. I've had a lot of caffeine, and this is my fourth
I have that effect on
set
people
in a
too.
row. And Goremiser's here, so I just like saying funny things when he's around because I want to see how he reacts. What if Strix just had like 3 flashbangs at all time, and they like charged up like Agni bombs, and they just flashbang. Everyone's just whited out screen all the time. I was trying to think of something that'd be more annoying than unauthorized use, and I think I might have just found it.
And then you get a card that extends the duration of the flashbang. I forgot the word duration there. That makes it so you're blinded for a little bit longer. And it's got very low scaling. Nothing too crazy. It's not like 2 seconds every single point. It's maybe half a second at most. But then you just go for that max, and then maybe something that resets your cooldown.
This
and you
is
just
giving me
flashbang,
nightmares.
flashbang,
This is
flashbang.
giving me nightmares.
You could make it so the other team never sees anything. They wouldn't know what hit them, literally.
By the way, I've been getting hit by some flashbangs lately, and I feel like they're lasting longer. Maybe I just don't get hit by them very often, but it just feels like, man, this lasts quite a while.
If you have a good Strix against you and they hit a flashbang like right in front of you, it is probably the worst sensation because like at least with Midnight, like if Midnight it goes black, you're like, okay, whatever, I know what's going to happen. It's going to end in a couple seconds. With flashbang, it feels like you're lost. You can't hear anything. You can't see anything. You are gone from the game as far as you're concerned. And then you wake up dead.
Yeah, that is part of the Strix stream there for sure. Poison doing a great job. Another member. Used to be on the Renegades a little bit. And is back on the PGS doing his thing. Actually competing very, very well. Goes to ambush. Oh! Talk about it, ambush. That's what's up. He just went into stealth, but the ambush was real. And he's going to go especially here back onto the unauthorized use, just trying to get a little bit of damage. The vision is clear. He is seeing all. It's a mid-air shot on Envy as well. He can't do it. No scope not needed. 90% for Bust still, but man, Poison popping off.
Still at least getting the montage in the backline. That does force Butt out of there, but that 96% is a huge number to fight against. You have to get such a big amount of control. Doppy with the double kill as they push him back, and Ferocity are finally seeming a little bit more ferocious.
Man, that was it. Frog Isle is a zonable map. They have no ancient range. They don't have anything. No ultimates to do it. They've just got to walk back if the zone is well by Doppy. And the rest of Ferocity, they should have this objective. Poison playing out of his mind. Poisoning what were Buzz hopes here. Unauthorized use giving him a little bit more vision. Crest is going to jump on the point again. Strix shuts him down, and that is what they brought him in the lineup for. Seismic Crash just to secure it. Zulu gets stunned, and that is it. It is Ferocity taking the lead here. We have ourselves a game, ladies and gentlemen.
And there goes the flare. Jalen, you are spotted. That's going to be one shot. Not a headshot, though. But you're still relatively low. All it needs is a little bit. Doppy cleans it up.
Shot.
And this is what you get when you are able to combo it. And again, once you get that feeling, right? And I feel like this is where Poison's at.
Yeah.
He knows how this this sniper's working. He knows the scope speed. He knows everything he needs to right now. And with Doppy feeling comfortable on this Cassie, you are going to start seeing some success, at least in their shots. Maybe a little bit of montage.
Well, one of the things that, yeah, I think your montage is right. One of the things we have not seen is Poison really having an impact game, right? We were talking about him. He is a player who was in the PPL for a bit of a time. Obviously, it was more like a mid-split pickup or a mid-year pickup, and then it didn't end up sticking. But he had that experience, and that is something that stays with you, especially when you go into the PGS. And you just have these moments where you say, listen, I've been there. I've got the confidence. I know what I need to do. And sometimes that allows you to hit those shots like that because you can't question yourself in that moment, right? You can't say, should I back off? Should I regroup with my team? You just got to be able to hit the shot.
No, you just got to go in
and say, dude, I'm a baller. I should be here. And that opens Doppy up, who has been having a good series, to continue doing what he's done well. I like it.
And the thing I've liked about Doppy, again, I mentioned this while he was playing Bomb King. I said he was kind of lackluster. His name didn't pop up too much, but he's been consistent. Every single time he's getting these big streaks, he's getting a lot of kills without dying a lot. Like, he is in that right area where once that opens up for him, once you have that comfort coming from the rest of your team, you can see him go in and get those double kills, triple kills, setting themselves up. And so I'm happy with where Ferocity has ended up now, but it does feel like maybe it started to peak a little bit too late. Like they started this, if they had been able to get that at the beginning of the map, a lot more comfort overall, at least in the score, because it looks like this might go too.
Yeah, and maybe the peak too late, but if I'm Ferocity, I think it's right on time. We're leading 2-1, and we haven't been able to push this much farther, but we definitely know that Poison can make an impact. 20 seconds left. Kerfluffle, who has played the Leon in the earlier matchup, now onto the Ignara, which is quite a switch-up. Getting pressure now. Still 10 seconds left. They're slowly but surely moving in. Will they be so audacious? Has to go for an Inflame here.
Inara's incredibly low right now. Kerfluffle actually going to go down, so you lose one of your primary front lines and your healer and Poison.
Great spot.
I feel like this is going to go down. Dome Shield, even if you use it, might be way too much to try and dump. You fall down as you're getting taken away. But Doppy is not going away without a consolation prize. He gets a lot of kills, a lot of poke, while his team falls.
I won't be dethroned.
Oh.
2-1. Overtime.
Couple of nice moments here. This is really the key. These outplays, taking Kresnik down.
Killing spree.
A couple of little things that really just went his way. Hitting the headshot there. Didn't get the bank shot, didn't try it, surviving that. And that one, just because it was so close to being shielded, he knew he had to maximize the moment. He did.
And there was something that I saw in there that I didn't realize Poison was doing, but he's gone record 3. And when Kresnik was in his face, he was going for no scopes because he knows even if this bullet goes wildly inaccurate, it's still going to hit this massive shield in front of me, and I'm looking for the damage. I'm not looking for the time spent or accuracy. I just need to make sure that this shield goes down faster. And just being able to apply that along with Doppy, Fernando has no real presence against them.
This is a very precarious position, I'll tell you that. And the Record 3 is swearing on these shields, swearing on these defensive opportunities, but you know you have the Ancient Rage, and you know you have the Immortal. It's going to probably come down to that and an Enlightenment here as to what truly turns the tide. Willow not really feeling safe to Fae Flight.
That's how you know you had a good sniper round.
That's true, and
But
there's
is
Ancient
not
Rage.
aggressive.
Oh, it's a good hook, but the wall is even better, and I don't know. I don't think this is enough. I think El Zulu is in trouble here, but a beautiful heal there. Kerfluffle goes into it, and there's the Enlightenment. Doesn't find the kill, so again, coming down to all of these ultimates, and it hasn't quite gone the way of Ba. They've used it to stabilize, but they haven't gotten the ultimate value. No kills found. All of Ferocity still alive.
Luckily, even though Bagel Wow on that Leon got incredibly low, almost dead, that half shell, that shield being dropped was able to save him. The wall comes up.
Oh,
Kresnik
no.
on the side gets taken out, though, by Pyrus, and that gives the numbers advantage as well as the damage advantage over to Ferocity, and now you can see him pressing the gas pedal.
Man, this is Pyrus just staying alive. And you know what? I think Ferocity just really have a better talent selection here. I mean, I see what Half Shell did, but look at how fast that falls. Zulu, that Ancient Rage gets nothing because he's not CC immune, and Inara is able to just shut him down with the Warder's Field. And then the wall, she creates enough distance so that when he does hook her, the wall goes up, and there's no way for him to actually bring her towards him. And now they start the zone. They're that confident. They push all of Bub back. And it's just one of those things where Half Shell, you start winning early. Yes, I mean, that becomes one of those things that's so hard to deal with, especially with momentum. But under the pressure, of a Wrecker 3 Strix who's not dying, who's matching you tit for tat. It's very, very tough for El Zulu and the rest of the boys to play out of.
And it's one of those things, Strix, you can argue whether or not he needs to go for Wrecker or Cauterize, but Cassie right now, the way people have been playing her has been for that Wrecker, and that's exactly what Doppy has done as well. 2 Wrecker 3s on the same side is going to burn a shield almost instantly if they just happen to look at it. So with this point, Kresnik can't really aggress the way he was early on because he puts himself in a bad position. That half shell, even if you throw it down, it's not going to be long for this world. It is not going to sit there and be as protective as it was, like you said, in the early rounds.
Yeah.
So even if you got a little bit of momentum early on, it's all starting to slow down to the point where you might be halted and even pushed back a little.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think Pyrus is trying to find his answer, his moment, because he is pushing this right side, but he's not been able to make as much of a successful run as this. He's getting healed up quite often, but the damage is just lackluster. Doppy and Kerfluffle. Doppy with a double. Oh my god, this could be it. I mean, at this point, Ferocity have taken down 2. This is the horrible position where you don't want to try to respawn, especially staggered on Frog Isle, because they have line of sight, but they've also got safety, and this payload is slowly but surely pushing around the corner. A minute left, Gore, and this could be the end. This could be the set getting tied up here if they continue.
Picking up a lot, Kresnik actually takes a lot of damage trying to get to Pyrus. That heal not going to be on the mark, and with Doppy gone, that might cause enough trouble, especially if you can pick up Pyrus as well, to cause Ferocity to fall back. They lose the Nara, and now they've lost all their momentum that they had going into this. Not enough kills, not enough damage to close it out. And with 40 seconds left, they still can touch the point, but they definitely have to rethink that approach because it didn't go anywhere near as clean as they thought.
It's a good time to take a look at some of the KDs and see exactly how people have been performing. I mean, obviously Doppy, Poison have been phenomenal. You look at Bagel, though, really been consistent for this squad. And a guy that you usually say, you know, he's a sport player. I say this time and time again. I'm never surprised when a player who we've seen in the scene for a long, long time does things like plays Leon, does things like play Androxus. These guys all have pocket Androxus, pocket Leons, and we've seen guys like ClickU and Koa and Phoenix change their careers because of their ability to say, listen, hey, I know how to play things other than front lines, by the way. And turns out that's pretty good in this meta. And so I love how Buzz utilizing Bagel to actually be that benefactor for the team, and it ends up working very, very well. As Bud tied up, and it goes to 3-3.
Double kill.
Good kills picked up from Ferocity throughout that round. And with the way things have been going, I expect still success early on, unless Bud just completely changed their approach to it. And actually, they are a little bit. They've gone 3 Master Ridings. They're going to try to get there a little bit faster overall. Not something you usually see on Frog Isle, but if they can get set up a little bit quicker, catch Poison, catch Doppy before they are set up, then you get yourself a kill. You start to snowball. You can keep rolling. I'm actually surprised. 3-3, 890 credits. Envy could have invested a little bit more elsewhere.
He's expecting to die.
Just go for it.
He's expecting to die, honestly. It seems like they might be playing a little bit aggressive. And he's going to go into the Fate. Did he go into the Fate Flight? No, he fluttered. So, yeah, no, he did Fate Flight. So he is. He just took a low version. So he's saying, I'm going to get aggressive. I'm going to see what I can get. I've got another Tier 3 item potentially coming out if I do die. But they've done a good job of poking people back and then also hiding. So a minute and 133 health. And you're, like I was saying, he was almost wanting to die so he can get that itemization back online and Lightmate just to stay out of it. And Doppy peeks his head at the wrong time and takes the brunt of that 1600.
Now getting pushed out and poked out. The way the damage is going, there's going to be the Dome Shield dumped down on the point, trying to regain some control. Kresnik's shields goes down, now his health bar as well. And with Zulu having to retreat at this point, you lose all the pressure. But they gained a little bit early on, but again, like you said earlier, it just seems like the talent selection on Ferocity is a lot better.
I mean, Zulu is just not able to get as much value out of the Ancient Rage, and that's the thing that turns so much of these fights as Makoa. And you're seeing the cauterizes come through. It's really about how Pyrus can maintain himself. The Dome Shield's been used. The Flashbang still available. 57% counting for Ba. 9 streak for El Zulu. He hasn't fallen yet. Now Envy in a very aggressive position, but he gets poked, and he doesn't know from where. It's Doppy. 54 health to Envy. This could be the difference, but a beautiful heal comes through on the other side of things. Score.
Half Shell going to be going down. El Zulu looking to follow suit right there as Doppy picks up one more kill. Poison getting pressured out, but Vaz going to be able to get rid of Envy with the trade, so now they're setting themselves up. Kresnik goes down. They are down a frontliner on the side of Ba.
I can't believe it. Pyrus somehow body blocks. It looks like some of the damage coming through finishing off what Doppy started, and it's 87% and counting. Ferocity looking to tie this thing up and send it into a Game 3. Enlightenment yet again. The Dread Serpent and Instant Inflame to try to respond. The movement speed, the damage, 162 health, and oh my goodness gracious, Ferocity are not giving up, are they? Bud doing their best, but Ferocity just keep on coming.
84 and rising right now to 96 on the side of Ferocity. They're getting a little bit of poke, but Kresnik again is low. His shield going down one more time. The healing is just not going to be enough, but Doppy, Pyrus, both are going to be taken down. 99 to 99. That's all they need is to stand on the point.
And she died with the seismic crash in hand. She died with it in hand, and you don't know why. Maybe it was the pressure. It was just bad timing. Boy, they did everything they could. I mean, it felt like there was just so many moments, but it was really the Dread Serpent Enlightenment that put Doppy to the edge, forced the Inflame, and even when he could find the trade, was forced to get out of the fight immediately. He was such a big impact, and there were little moments that he was finding kills that just lasted maybe 5 seconds more because Bagel Wow just body blocked what was going on to Kresnik, and Kresnik stays alive, and then that just forces Pyrus to be the one to kill, gets him out of position, and then he takes more damage. It was a very, very intricate kind of point fight that ended up going the way of Bud to close out the set, but Ferocity ferocious in their attempt to climb back.
And there was that one moment, and you called it out, 162 health sitting there on Doppy, and right after that, Va dies. And that's that moment where it's just like your healer's gone. You know for a fact, I'm not going to be able to live through this even if I try to get aggressive. I can't really retreat. I'm in a corner that has no cover. And that's when it started becoming, oh man, how do we get back into this? How do we get back to that form? And they just weren't able to grab it back just because of the way Bell played their game.
Well, let's take a look at the final standings, of course, for today. It is North America coming to an end. Big Egos, taking 2 wins. And Ferocity and Hasselflorx with 2 losses, but they just don't feel like losses, do they? Such tight sets. North America, by far, the most competitive region that I have seen here in the PGS, at least in Week 1 and Week 2 now. It is Ryder and Authority, 5 Gods and Wolfpack tomorrow. It's SCA. I don't believe we have a patch notes, but we do have a Paladins Dev Inside, I believe, at around 12 or 1 for 1.5, unless that's just wrong on my calendar. And if that is wrong, that's just me. That's just me. We do have it, so I just got the kind of confirmation. So that'll be going on in the afternoon. Of course, we will have the PPL after that as well at around 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And today we'll also have a special version of the PPL. Again, another pre-show and post-show with casting done by Gormizer and myself as we have a Realm Royale tournament. And you'll see our high-res pretty hair friend casting that with high-res aggro today. So it's going to be a lot of esports, a lot of Paladins, and it's a good time to take some lunch. And make sure you get back here by the afternoon.
Yeah, 3 p.m. is the deadline. Come back, watch SK in their doubleheader. They have 2 new teammates, so I'm actually really excited to see how they're going to do against G2 and Renegades, I think, are the 2 matchups.
Cannot wait. Going to be some great games, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the PGS. We will see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for some more, and hopefully at the PPL at 3 for that action later today. As always, never give up, never stop gaming, and we'll see you all in the realm.
When I'm under your control, I'm losing my cool. Yeah.